Corbin. We're back for the post-game show when it's over. Mets baseball right now. Enjoy it here on SNY.
At Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., the New York Mets play the Washington Nationals. Tonight's game is presented by Health First. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Spectrum. Switch and save with Spectrum Mobile, nationwide 5G included. Restrictions apply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com. By Geico, switch today and see all the ways you could save. By Citi, for each home run at Citi Field, Citi will donate $2,000 to No Kid Hungry. And by Toyota, the summer starts here at Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Back where it all began for the Mets. Back on April 7th, they began the season in our nation's capital. And here we are again at Nationals Park, where the Mets won 3 out of 4 the first time they were here, and they've parlayed that into a 20-10 start. Brandon Nimmo getting on base with regularity at the top of the lineup. Jeff McNeil tearing it up the way he did when he was first brought up to the majors. And, oh yeah, Pete Alonso slugging home runs, 2 of them on Sunday. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Washington. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight. It's the Mets open a 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Pete Alonso tied for the league lead in RBIs, up there in home runs as well. Pete is also getting hits to right field. He's doing everything the Mets have needed out of that cleanup spot so far.
Well, he had the big series in Philadelphia with the 2 home runs and his first home run off a left-hander. He's getting a left-hander tonight in Patrick Corbin. See if he can carry that through. Pete, I really feel, hasn't really got into a raging hot streak yet, but there he is, tied for first in the National League in RBI and tied for third in home runs, only 2 off the pace. He has really become the quintessential cleanup hitter.
On the mound tonight for the Mets is Carlos Carrasco. Last time out against the Braves, 8 innings, dealt with traffic virtually the entire game, kept making the big pitches, didn't give up a run.
Well, he's a different pitcher this year. He's the pitcher he was at Cleveland, where he had over 91 career wins in his career. He's through his injuries. He's only really had 1 bad start. That was in St. Louis. He's pitched very well this year, and he has solidified this starting rotation.
Mets face Patrick Corbin on opening day. He hasn't gotten a win so far this year, but he's pitching better of late.
0-5, and the home run has always been his problem. He's only given up 1 this year. He has last 2 starts. He has had 2 fine starts, a complete game in Colorado where he suffered a loss.
It's a beautiful but breezy night in our nation's capital. Mets hoping for a monumental series against the Nationals. Mets and Nats coming up on SNY. By M&M's. M&M's believes we all bring unique flavors to the bowl. M&M's for all fun kind. And by Lexus, experience amazing. Be one of the first 25,000 fans at the May 14th Mets-Mariners game and get a Polar Bear Pete Alonso bobblehead, compliments of Citi. Get your tickets now at Mets.com/tickets. And your Charmin ultra strong stats. Since his rookie year in 2018, only Mike Trout has a better OPS than Juan Soto. Soto's not off to his best start so far this year. In fact, the guys behind him in the lineup, Josh Bell and Yadiel Hernandez, have been doing better. But Soto, always the dangerous prospect for the Mets when they come to D.C. 3-game series starts tonight. It's Navy Day at the ballpark. Eduardo Escobar posing for some selfies. First pitch coming right up. Washington to show you some of the sights. Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, traffic going across the Potomac, all the sights. Fans are sort of sauntering into the ballpark. Not exactly not an overflow crowd tonight for a Nationals team that's 10-20 on the year and just 3-11 at home. They're coming back from a West Coast road trip. Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup. J.D. Davis gets the assignment of DH against the left-hander. He's had good numbers against Patrick Corbin, including 4 home runs. see, what else can we tell you? Pete Alonso's got 4 home runs against Corbin as well. And there is Patrick Corbin.
There is the upstate New Yorker, Patrick Corbin, 0-5 winless on the year. The ERA up. Home runs, like I said in the open, of those of you that watched, they're down this year, only 1. He's coming off of 2 good starts.
Suggesting people were not watching the open game?
Well, we were a little early, weren't we, on the open? 5 minutes early. The SNY. I'll plug the network. The SNY defense, Washington defense. Josh Bell at first base. We got 2 Gold Glovers in the middle infielders. Both those guys can pick it. The All-Star out there, Juan Soto in right field.
Same network it's been for 17 years, and Brandon Nimmo takes a strike, and we're underway.
That's right. That's the SNY leadoff hitter.
Nimmo's now reached base in 20 consecutive games. He's hit in the last 5. His on-base percentage at .393. That's 10th in the National League starting the night. And he has been arguably the Mets' best hitter against left-handed pitching this year. The Mets have really struggled against lefties. They're hitting just .217 as a team. Only 5 home runs against left-handers. Nimmo's got 1 of those, and he's hitting .261 against lefties, which is better than anybody else in the lineup today.
And the Mets are 3-4 against left-hand pitchers on this young season.
And Corbin blows him away with a fastball, and he's got a strikeout to start the night.
That's quick work right there. It's always interesting how Brandon walks back to the on-deck circle. He just got that ball thrown by him there. And talks it over to, this time it's Canha in the on-deck circle hitting second tonight, but they're always communicating, the Mets. I think it's just a wonderful thing. A positive change. One of the many positive changes in this ball club. And
often Nimmo can bring back lots of information after one of those 7 or 8 pitch first at bats. Not this time, just 3 pitches, and Corbin took care of him. Here's Canha, and he takes up and away for ball 1. Mark's hitting .311, but like everybody else, he has struggled against lefties. Just .227 against left-handed pitching. Had a really good series here in D.C. to start the year.
With the 4-game series, the Mets took 3 out of 4.
And that one pops out of the mid of Riley Adams, but he got the strike call anyway, and it's 1-1. Adams has had a lot more success catching Corbin than their #1 catcher, Keibert Ruiz. Adams has been behind the plate for Corbin's last 2 starts. He's pitched much better, and so Davey Martinez is going to stick with that combination. And they're counting on young Mr. Adams to, catch the ball most of the time.
There's your slider right there from Corbin, his first one, a good one. That's always been his bread and butter. A boring slider on the right-hander's hands. He's lost a little bit of that bite. He led the league in home runs allowed last year, and boy, he gave up a ton to right-hand hitters.
There's another one, and Canha fouls it off. Well, Corbin had a very rough year last year. In fact, he's really struggled since the Nationals won the World Series in 2019. A World Series championship that he was an enormous part of, but his hangover from that World Series has lasted 2+ years. Did pitch well at Coors Field his last time out, just 3 earned runs in 8 innings. That's got to be counted as success for anybody. You see those numbers the last 2+ years. That's driven down the right field line by Canha, slicing, foul. Canha almost buried one in the corner, but he'll come on back with a 1-2 count.
Wind looks like it's blowing directly in, particularly from right field, and a good breeze. Once again, it was that way in Philadelphia. The weather has moved off into the Atlantic here, and now we got bright skies.
Well, the weather always moves east away from us, but then there's more weather to come behind that. And you just have to wait to see what that will bring. The Nationals just came from the West Coast, where they went 4-5 in their road trip. They beat the Giants 2 of 3, but then lost 2 of 3 to the Rockies, and then 2 of 3 in Anaheim. 1-2 coming to Canha, and it's inside and barely missed hitting him, and another one that Adams fails to catch, and it's 2-2.
I almost thought it got him there for a moment.
The Nats had a chance to win that series in Anaheim, but they got beaten in the last inning of the last game on a big hit by Anthony Rendon.
Well, the Nationals have blown a lot of games, a lot of leads this year. Of course, when you're 10-20,
That's usually the case.
Canna fouls one away. Well, they've had 10 games this year where they've had the lead and lost the game. That's tied for the most of any team in the majors. Only the Red Sox have had a similar fate, and the Red Sox are 10-19. Red Sox begin a series against the Braves tonight in Atlanta. So that's one that bears watching for the Mets as the Braves sit 6 back of New York.
Well, there's our ever alert skipper.
8th pitch of the at bat from Corbin to Canna, and he drills one down the left field line, and this one will hook and go foul.
So this is
hit one hard each way.
This has been typical of Canna, and he came over as advertised. A tough out. He gets 2 strikes, and he becomes a very, very difficult out.
He's had 4 career at bats against Corbin, 1 hit, and that was a home run. Canna's hit just 1 home run this year in 74 at bats. Mets are expecting some more power from him as the year goes along. He pops this one up on the right side, and Josh Bell will wait for it to come down. And Bell squeezes it for the second out. Well, that was the first series. Tyler McGill got the opening day start in the absence of Jacob deGrom and outpitched Patrick Corbin that day. That's won the second game behind Max Scherzer. The third game behind Chris Bassett. Alonso hit a grand slam, and then the Nats took the finale of that series, rallying against the Mets bullpen. So 2 out and nobody on. Here's Francisco Lindor. He's hit in his last 3 games after a long 0-for. And he gets a first pitch changeup from Corbin, 0-1.
Well, he got red hot out of the gate, and he kind of slowed down. You see the batting average.
And Corbin picks off the inside corner with a fastball, and it's 0-2. And Lindor stops to talk about it with a young home plate umpire, Ryan Wills. Corbin working quickly and buries that slider in the dirt. 1-2. Here's your umpiring quartet. We've seen a lot of this crew. Wills behind the plate, Trip Gibson, Chad Fairchild, and the crew chief, Laz Diaz, working at third. Beautiful evening, just about 70 degrees, wind blowing in at about 10 miles an hour out of the northeast. And Lindor goes down on the back foot slider, picked out of the dirt by Adams. He throws down to first, and Corbin's got 2 strikeouts in a 1-2-3 opening inning. Carlos Carrasco to the mound when we come back. Bridge, which is right behind Nationals Park, crossing the Anacostia River. Here's our Hyundai starting lineup for the Nationals. 41-year-old Nelson Cruz has good numbers against Carrasco, but it's been a struggle for Cruz early in his first season with the Nats. Josh Bell and Yadiel Hernandez have been tearing it up, and that's the task for Carlos Carrasco tonight.
Carrasco's first start was the last game of that 4-game series. Gave up the 1 run, ironically, the solo home run in the first to Nelson Cruz.
Cesar Hernandez leads off, and the former Philly takes a fastball for a strike. Hernandez already has 36 hits this year. That's second in the National League. Never walks a lot. Not an ideal leadoff hitter because of that. Can bunt for hits, and that's why Escobar is playing it on the grass at third. And Hernandez takes inside from Carrasco, a ball and a strike.
Well, the switch hitter is a much better right-hand hitter than left-hand hitter. You see Escobar on the grass. The guy can fly. A lot of infield hits, as Gary mentioned.
And he fouls back a changeup from Carrasco, 1-2. Last year, Cesar Hernandez played for the Indians and the White Sox. See the game the Indians and White Sox had last night?
Saw that. Shades of what the Mets did in that game, first game in Philly.
Cleveland down 6 runs in the 9th inning, and the Guardians came back to win. And Josh Naylor put his name in the record books. Naylor drove in a run in the 8th. He hit the tying grand slam in the 9th, and he hit the game-winning 3-run homer in the 11th. 8 RBIs from the 8th inning on that had never been done before in Major League history. And did you see his celebration? He almost broke everything in the dugout. Taken high by Hernandez, 2-2. By the way, did we get fined if we use the Guardians' old name inadvertently?
I hope we're not banished.
Well, I think the the announcers for Cleveland. Swing and a miss, and Carrasco's got a strikeout to start his night. So Hernandez is gone, one away.
You see the changeup right there in a late movement. That was a great shot right there.
Split change from Carrasco, which is such a big piece of his arsenal. So here's Juan Soto. Soto's not having a bad start. He's just not having quite a Juan Soto start. Especially that RBI column is stark. 6 home runs, just 8 RBIs, and he lines one right to Lindor on a first pitch fastball, and that's the second out.
And we'll look at the Lexus Metropolitan defense. Lexus, stand up and raise your hand. There's the Metsies right there. You see Escobar at third, Lindor short, McNeil, Alonso, McCann. That's a steady infield right there, and Canna, Nimmo, and Marte out in right. That is the 18.
That was interesting, wasn't it, Keith? I'm not sure we've ever seen Juan Soto, first at bat of the game, swing at a first pitch.
Well, his numbers are 257. You don't usually see him there. What you mentioned is the 6 home runs and only 8 RBI. He is 2 for 24 on the season with runners in scoring position. And you got Josh Bell right here who's tearing it up, hitting behind him.
Bell right now 3rd in the National League in batting, 2nd in on-base percentage, 6th in slugging. You just wonder about Soto in a year like this. You know, he's a superstar. He's 23 years old, finished 2nd in the MVP last year, but this is a team that I think everybody from the start knew wasn't going anywhere. Off the fist, a little dunker into shallow left center, and Josh Bell's got himself a base hit.
When you're hot, you're hot.
And that's how you hit 340.
Well, you know one thing about this game, Gary, it's not that easy, and this is probably the first time there you see the inside out, completely tied him up inside, but he's strong enough to muscle it out. It's the first time that Soto has had some adversity. He has taken Major League Baseball by storm. Incredible young, 19 years old, having the years that he had. This is the first time he's struggled. This game will let you know it's not that easy. You got to work at it, and I'm sure he does.
Now it's Nelson Cruz.
Well, complete inside out here. When you get jammed, you see what happens. Watch him bring his arms in. Oh, it's ouch. But you know what? Right on the label, and it's got a knock.
Carrasco picks off the outside corner, and it's 1-1 to Cruz, who's got 5 career home runs against Carrasco, including 1 earlier this year. Now 41 years old, 452 Major League home runs for the 7-time All-Star.
And he has not been able to get untracked.
Well, you always wonder. I mean, even with great players, there's an expiration date on everybody. And anytime an older player gets off to a slow start, the questions start to mount whether the end is near.
And that's what that athlete, that player has to fight, the negativity.
Good high fastball by Carrasco, 2-2.
Because you always feel, Gary, that you can still play, and you don't want to give it up. You love the game, and there he is right there, active players 3rd on the list. You know, you're the last person to know that you're maybe losing some of your skills. You know, maybe you do realize, but you still feel that you can play. And then it gets to a point where, okay, I can't perform at the level I've performed my whole career, and that's when you start thinking, you know, gosh, should I hang it up? And those are all negative thoughts, and that's all compounds itself, and you really got to fight it and fight through it.
No runs on 3-2. Carrasco throws a fastball by Cruz, and that'll do it for the Nats in the bottom of the first. Couple of strikeouts for Carrasco. No score after 1.
Pete.
Second inning, no score. Pete Alonso leads off against Patrick Corbin. Pete's got 4 career home runs against Corbin, who leaves the ball outside for ball 1.
They said that Corbin has last 2 starts has worked the outside corner more against right-handers. Remember, he likes to pound that slider in to righties. He's starting to. He can't live in on that inside corner.
And he missed a little high with that fastball, and it's 2-0. Pete's now tied for the National League lead in RBIs with 26, tied for 3rd in home runs with 7. He's also up among the league leaders in base hits, which really bespeaks how well-rounded his game has been this year. He's got a lot of hits to right field, especially with 2 strikes.
He hasn't walked, Gary. He's only got 7 walks on the year. So, and you know what? I want him swinging the bat. They want to pitch to him. Go right ahead. Be my guest.
And he walks on 4 pitches. Here's a walk for you, Keith. I think he's going to walk a lot more as the season goes along if he keeps swinging the way he has. Mets have their first base runner, now J.D. Davis, who also knows what it's like to hit long balls off Patrick Corbin.
Well, he's just owned Patrick, and that's why he's hitting 5th in the lineup today. And that is all over the place, just owns him.
No cheapies.
No.
In this group.
Yep, he's a lot of those hits on the breaking ball, and that's Corbin. Those are a lot of hangers. And JD has just taken advantage. Escobar moved down in the lineup, struggling a little bit. And with JD so hot against Corbin, it makes perfect sense to put him in the 5-hole behind Pete.
Well, there are the overall numbers for him, but JD, like just about everybody else in the lineup, struggling against lefties so far this year, hitting just 188 against left-handers. That's beat Corbin opening day, but they didn't exactly beat him up. He gave up only 2 runs and 5 hits over 4 innings. Just got outpitched by McGill in that game. This is his 21st career start against the Mets. Patrick Corbin, who grew up a basketball player in upstate New York, Clay, New York, up near Syracuse. Dreamed of playing for the Orangemen, more so than being a pitcher. Famously showed up to baseball tryouts in high school wearing blue jeans.
He's an athlete.
It wasn't exactly his sport, but he can still do 360 jams, I'm told. JD fouls off the fastball, and it's 1-2. And Corbin was never better than he was in that postseason in 2019. He really saved the Nationals bacon. I mean, Strasburg got all the plaudits, and rightly so, because he had a fantastic postseason. But Corbin got an enormous number of big outs for the Nats in that World Series run.
Well, they threw him in the bullpen in that World Series because they didn't have they had Sean. Was it Sean? Did they have Sean Doolittle then? Was he there?
Yes.
They had, yes, and they had worn him out. And it was the only lefty, and that gave them the another lefty in that bullpen, and a lefty that can go multiple innings, obviously.
JD fouls off another fastball, but you know, Corbin has struggled since that World Series. Doolittle's never really been the same. Strasburg's been on the shelf most of the time since that World Series. They're still waiting for him to come back from thoracic outlet surgery.
Well, Doolittle's on the team this year, and he's on the IL.
Yeah, he's got elbow problems again.
He was always just like, remind me a lot like Al Hrabosky back, the Mad Hungarian back in the 70s. He was a fastball pitcher. When you lose a little bit of that fastball, you go quickly.
Well, we saw him earlier this season incorporating more breaking stuff. Double play ball right to Hernandez. Strange Gordon with the turn for the 4-6-3 double play. 2 out. Interesting to see D. Strange Gordon at shortstop. Remember, he came up as a shortstop with the Dodgers, but then he enjoyed most of his success as a second baseman with the Marlins. Didn't play at all in the big leagues last year. But
well, he's a late insert into the lineup.
Yep.
And nice feed from Hernandez. Cuts across the bag with his back foot. Drags it. Textbook.
Such a good athlete. 3-time National League stolen base champ. Alcides Escobar was the late scratch today, and we have not heard why. Starling Marte takes outside. Marte yet another laggard against the lefties, hitting just .214 against the southpaws.
And there's the curveball from Corbin. Don't see that one too often.
Bat started to heat up in Philadelphia. I've been waiting for Marte to get hot, and he's just kind of chugged along here. But you know, he's chugged along and he's got 20 RBI.
Corbin used that back foot slider to get ahead 1-2.
And he hustles. He runs everything out. Hustles in the field, plays with exuberantly, I would say. And I just think he's a splendid addition to this Mets ball club.
He bookended that big rally on Thursday. And he strikes out on the high slider. And Corbin has his third strikeout. That ends the top of the second. No score.
Tone of her voice, but the pitch, or whatever you want to call it.
Home second inning. Yadiel Hernandez leads off against Carlos Carrasco. Hernandez has been tearing it up and earning more and more playing time. This is his 20th start of the year. He's got a 7-game hitting streak going. He's hitting .483 over the 7 games, and the 34-year-old from Cuba has become a fixture in left field for the Nats.
He's not another guy that doesn't walk. Only 4 walks, and he's hit really well in the clutch. 500, 9 for 18.
If you hit .365, Keith, you don't have to walk.
That's true.
0-2 to Hernandez. Maikel Franco on deck, and then D. Strange Gordon. It's a very weird Nationals team when you think about the construction of this lineup. You've got a bunch of veteran players who are basically placeholders for what the Nationals hope will be a next wave of talent out of their farm system.
Also, I think they're got to appease their young superstar Soto. Can't just throw him out there by himself.
Well, that's why they brought Cruz in on a 1-year deal. Swing and a miss. Got him with a slider. Nice job by Carrasco to strike out Hernandez. That's his 3rd strikeout.
It looks like a little change-up, Guerra, that little split. And Hernandez, we said, doesn't walk. He's a swinger. You can try to expand the strike zone on him. There's Dave Martinez, manager of the Nats.
Well, he may have a sub .500 record, but he's got a World Series ring.
He sure does.
There's Maikel Franco, the former Philly. He's been swinging the bat pretty well, hitting .281, and he pops one up on the infield. McNeil, perfectly placed, puts it away, 2 out. So 2 up and 2 set aside. Which baseball movie is your favorite of all time? Fill out your bracket at MLB.com/bleacher features for a chance to win a Hollywood prize package, including tickets to the All-Star game presented by MasterCard in Los Angeles. So 2 out and nobody on. Now D. Strange Gordon. Just 12 at bats so far this year. D is now 34 years old. 2-time All-Star, 3-time stolen base champ.
Well, the name on the back of his uniform almost goes down to his waistline. He is a blade of grass, is he not?
You know, that's off his foot, a foul ball. You know, the Nats made a series of player moves today, and among other things, they called up veteran right-hander Carl Edwards. And with Edwards and Strange Gordon, the Nats could have the 2 skinniest players in the major leagues. They are mere sylphs. And yet, both very successful in their chosen craft. It's hard to get that whole name from hip to hip. Of course, he used to go just by D. Gordon, which took up less space. Rolled to the right side. Alonso on the backhand feeds Carrasco. And Cookie's got himself a 1-2-3 inning. We've played 2 in our nation's capital. Mets and Nats, no score. Tonight, Carlos Carrasco's topped out at 95. Patrick Corbin at 94. Eduardo Escobar leads off against Corbin as we start the 3rd. Escobar went 0 for Philadelphia 0 for 12 in that series, down to 223 on the year.
And I thought the last 2 at bats in Philly, he pressed a little, got out in front and tried to pull too much. He's more of a pull hitter, left-handed. Right-handed, he's a much better hitter. More pop from the left side.
And he goes down on 3 pitches. Corbin looking sharp early, blows him away with the fastball, and that's 4 strikeouts through the first 7 batters for Corbin.
Seems like both teams had an off day yesterday, having a hard time getting that engine warmed up. The offense, that is.
Well, this is only the 2nd day in the last 5 that the Mets have had a game. Right? They got rained out Friday,
That's
Saturday.
right.
They had an off day yesterday.
Yep.
And the Nats, coming back from the West Coast, played Sunday in Anaheim and then flew home.
It was so good to spend more time than we usually spend together, Garrett, in those 2 rainouts. I feel like I got to know you a little better.
Sometimes that's a good thing, Keith, and sometimes you can be disappointed. Nothing wrong to McNeil. Not only did we have rainouts and meals together, but Keith took it upon himself to sit in the passenger seat of my car driving from Philadelphia to Washington, and you know, not everybody's that brave.
And also, twice I've driven with you, and you're a good driver.
I happen to think I'm a very good driver.
I think you're very good. You use your indicators when you change lanes.
Well, isn't that what they taught you in driver's ed when you were 16?
I never did that until I got older.
McNeil hits it sharply on the backhand. Hernandez up and throwing, and he gets the out. Beautifully done by Cesar Hernandez to rob McNeil 2 out.
Well, nice play by Hernandez on the backhand, and the quick agility to get up and make the strong throw. And that's a big hang with him.
Cesar Hernandez has a Gold Glove to his credit. Won one in 2020 in the American League.
Actually had my brother in Philadelphia. He joined us for those 2 rainouts, and I had a root canal, folks, in Philadelphia.
It was really a full week for you, even without a whole lot of baseball games. So I must say, having your brother around is really a revelation. Here's
Why?
James McCann. Well, you know, you are let's just say, you are someone who is capable of seeming younger than your age. And when your brother's around, you seem even younger.
Why?
Like 12.
Tell me.
Well, you got your older brother around, so you revert to old habits.
He is my older brother. We've been together a long time.
He's known you longer than anybody. Oh, wait a second. Is that your tooth?
That's my tooth, the one in the middle. Yes, it's oh boy, it's still hurting.
It's now an X tooth.
I don't know what that lower left is.
I don't know either. That's
you see the dark spots?
That's a little scary right there.
That was the problem. The dark spots.
Right.
They're gone now. They extracted the nerves. And my jaw is sore, so you have to do more of the talking.
I'll understand if you need to lay low for a while. Inside to McCann, it's 2-2. Sometimes I think on this broadcast, occasionally maybe we overshare. Might have been the case right there.
I'm a very giving person.
2-2 coming, and it's in the dirt. A full count to McCann.
So it's been a sort of a rough run for me. I had 2 surgeries in the before spring training. Obviously, my knee replacement, not my knee replacement, my hip, and it's just been not.
You were on the shelf.
You know, everything happens in 3. So I feel
come back. You have a tooth problem. Rainouts, double headers. McCann shoots one through the hole, and he's got the Mets' first hit of the night. So McCann, who had been 1 for 16 against left-handed pitching, starting the night, gets a 2-out single.
Well, McCann likes the ball middle in. He's got that open stance. What gets McCann in trouble is that he swings at the pitch inside that's 6 inches, sometimes a foot inside off the inside corner, and that gets him in trouble. I don't care who you are, you can't hit a ball a foot inside or 6 inches inside with any consistency.
Now here's Nimmo, and he lines one the other way for a base hit. So Nimmo wasting no time after striking out his first time up, and the Mets have back-to-back 2-out hits.
Well, that's what Brandon has added to his game, his improvement as a hitter against the lefties. This is a cut and slash right here. Belt high fastball, nice and level, just below the belt, and hitting it where it's pitched. He's a leadoff hitter.
So Nimmo's now reached base safely in 21 straight games. Still not close to his career high. He had a stretch end of 19, start of 20 where he reached base safely in 34 straight games. Headed in that direction again. So 2 out and 2 on. Mets have a runner to second base for the first time, and here's Canha, who popped up to the first baseman his first time up. So Corbin in his first spot of trouble, coming with 2 out in the third. And Canha hits the first pitch well out to right center field. Back in the gap goes Soto, though, and he'll run it down for the out. So Canha attacks the first pitch as Nimmo did before him, but Soto able to make the play, and the Mets strand 2 in the third. Still no score in D.C. Nationals Park, hard by the Anacostia River, near the old Navy Yard.
A lot of sailors.
And lots of Navy folk on hand today.
And they're summer whites.
It's not quite summer. Riley Adams leads off the home third for the Nats and takes the first pitch fastball for a strike from Carrasco, who has really been attacking the strike zone early in this game. Adams the backup catcher to Keibert Ruiz. They got Adams last summer when they traded Brad Hand to Toronto at the trading deadline. And that fastball just off the plate, 1-1. Adams 5 hits and 30 at bats so far this year, and it appears, at least for the time being, that Dave Martinez is going to keep matching him up with Patrick Corbin because that tandem seems to be working well. Taken the other way, over toward the line comes Marte, and he picks it off for the out. So 1 out and nobody on. And Carrasco had his one bobble this year in St. Louis when he gave up 8 runs in 3 2/3, but he bounced back and really did an amazing job against the Braves in that he had tons of base runners. Braves went 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position in that game over 8 innings. Fouled off by Victor Robles. Robles has started swinging the bat better lately. Keep waiting for him to come around.
Well, they're hoping that he'll come around because he plays a really good center field. And he's very gifted, can run. He can hit. He's going to have a long career. That's a big if.
Still just 24 years old. Hit .203 last year. And Carrasco misses with a slider, and it's 1-1. Let's play the corners in against Robles, who has been encouraged to bunt for base hits. He's got that kind of speed. And interestingly, in an era where we have the universal DH, there's not as much bunting in the games there used to be. Robles has more sacrifice bunts than anybody else in baseball. He's got 5 of them already through the first 5th of the season. That's a lot.
They're playing him the pull.
And he lays off that slider off the plate, 2-2. Well, Carrasco, when he has struggled, generally has struggled first time through the batting order. First time through the order, oppositions hit .273 against him. Second time through, .175. Third time through, .125. This time, first time through the order, he's given up just 1 hit through the first 8 batters.
So last year was just a year of injury. Could never get untracked, and now he's healthy.
Well, he had the hamstring injury that kept him out the first half of the year, and then he battled an elbow problem. and wound up having surgery to remove loose bodies when the season was over. And when he got to spring training, talked in raving fashion about how he can get full extension now on all his pitches, which he just never could last year.
His 91 and 79 career. Most of those years, obviously, with the Cleveland, back then the Indians, now the Guardians.
McNeil waits for the pop up and puts it away with 2 hands. So 2 out and nobody on. Well, the Nats have actually had a pretty good offense so far this year, particularly lately. I mean, they're 3rd in the league in batting average. They're 9th in the league in runs per game, but that's been coming up. They're not hitting home runs, tied for the bottom in the National League in home runs.
It's odd. They're 4th in on base percentage, but 11th in walks.
Right.
It's just hard to figure. 254 is their batting average coming in at 3rd.
Yeah, 254 this year is good.
Yes.
I mean, the major league average last I looked was 232, which is the lowest it's been in forever.
They don't strike out very much. They're 12th in strikeouts. And they hit lots of doubles, 51 doubles on the year.
Cesar Hernandez struck out his first time up.
Yeah, the Mets are at 256, and that's 2nd in the majors.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Top foul on the changeup from Carrasco, 1 and 2. Well, batting average is down, run scoring is down, home runs in particular are down. Juan Soto would be next.
And the Mets have found so far in the first 30 games a winning formula.
Yeah, the formula is put the ball in play
and get good pitching. And they play good defense. The Mets have only made 12 errors this year.
Half swing, and Hernandez stopped it in time. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Carrasco gave up a soft hit to Josh Bell with 2 out in the first. He's retired 6 straight since then. And now he gets Hernandez to end the 3rd. 4 strikeouts in the first 3 innings for Carlos Carrasco. He and Patrick Corbin have a pitcher's duel brewing. No score after 3. 4th inning, no score. Francisco Lindor leads off against Patrick Corbin and takes a fastball up and away for ball 1. Lindor struck out his first time up, one of 4 strikeouts for Corbin over the first 3 innings. Each one of these pitchers has struck out 4. And Lindor pulls one toward the hole. Backhand play, Strange Gordon. The jump throw to first pulls Bell off the bag. And Lindor's got an infield hit. Nice effort by D. Gordon. Could not quite get it there on target. Would have been a close play had he gotten there in time, but Lindor beats it out.
Well, nice backhand. And really, he's a second baseman. It's a long throw that he's unfamiliar with.
So Pete Alonso will bat with a runner aboard. Pete drew a 4-pitch walk his first time up. It'll be very interesting to see how the Nationals approach Pete in this series after his huge day on Sunday in Philadelphia. They read the papers too, you know.
Well, the first home run here is his first home run off a left-hander, Big Pete. Line drive. And then this one was just a howitzer. A Vinny Bommarino.
Well, he's seen 5 pitches now, all out of the strike zone. I think all away.
He's been up too. We can't afford to dink around here because first and second, if he's got to pitch to Pete in this situation.
J.D. Davis on deck. Lindor at first has not been doing a lot of running, but he's running now. The throw by Riley Adams hits the runner, and Lindor is safe at second. 4th stolen base of the year. Mets had been doing a lot of running the first couple of weeks of the season, but not a whole lot since. And this throw hit Lindor, and he's a little slow getting up.
And that'll be his 4th stolen base. They got him on the shoulder.
Either that or the helmet. I'm not sure.
Shoulder.
Yeah, you're right. And you see the stolen base numbers, 11 in the first 11 games, just 3 in the last 20 games. That's where we're right at the top of the league in the first couple of weeks. They came into the day 9th in the league in steals. So a runner in scoring position for Alonso. A 1-1 count. He takes a slider in the dirt. 2-1.
Hernandez is chatting right now with Lindor at second, but he will back up a little bit to the right side of second base. Pete's been going that way. You've got to respect that. And I would want to shade him a little more over there. It's too much of the right side of the infield for Pete.
Runner in scoring position for Alonso. Pete began the day tied for the National League lead in RBIs with 26 after his 5 RBI performance in the second game Sunday.
Well, there he is.
Rowdy Tellez of the Brewers.
On top of the heap. Pete very disciplined now, working the count 3-1. We've seen him do this all year.
Again, interesting to see what Corbin does here, whether he challenges him or tries to make him chase on 3-1. And he misses high ball 4, so Pete walks for a second time. And the Mets have 2 men on for J.D. Davis. So Corbin has pitched as though he's wanted no part of Alonso in his first 2 at-bats.
I don't think he pitched around Pete there. You just don't want to. And you got Davis behind him, another right-hand hitter that just owned him. You see the numbers.
Davis grounded into a double play his first time up, but he hit the ball 110 miles an hour.
It was a bullet.
So it's not as though he was fooled by Corbin. J.D. making just his 11th start in the first 31 games. Primarily this has been his role, DH against left-handed pitching, and a chance to do some damage here. First and second, nobody out in a scoreless game, and he takes a fastball high. So Corbin consistently up now with his fastball.
He got the ball up beginning in that second inning. The first inning was crisp, good location, but now he's almost like he's overthrowing Garrett.
4 of the last 5 man hitters have reached base. A couple of 2-out singles in the third, and now the first 2 on base in the fourth. And that catches the outside corner, maybe.
Boy, oh boy, you got a break there. I could have gone either way. That call. No complaining from JD. He thought it was a strike.
The Nats don't show a lot of respect for JD's power. They don't play him particularly deep in the outfield. Robles, the center fielder, plays shallow against everybody, but corner outfielders Hernandez and Soto fairly shallow as well.
It's a big ballpark.
And that fastball just missed, and it's 2-1. Kind of a sparse crowd on a Tuesday night in D.C. First game of the homestand for the Nationals after a 9-game road trip on the West Coast. Nats have actually played better away from home than they have here. They're 3-11 in their home park. Lindor dancing off second, and JD takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 2-2. Nationals Park, which opened in 2008 after the Nats spent their first 3 years playing at old RFK Stadium.
I got some odd little nooks and crannies in this park. The gaps really aren't that big.
Got to watch out for that angled wall in center field. That produces some odd caroms. 2-2 to JD. And he rifles one right to Hernandez, and Lindor smartly able to get back.
Boy, oh
so
boy.
Another bullet off the bat of JD, again right at the second baseman, and that's the first out.
Boy, oh boy, no, that's a tough 0 for 2 for JD, and good base running by Lindor. Yep, he knew right away to get back.
That has been a point of emphasis with Buck Showalter over the last couple of weeks. He felt as though the Mets had runners doubled off in some situations where maybe they could have avoided it, and that was one of those. Here's Starling Marte, and he takes a fastball at the knees for a strike. Marte struck out his first time up.
Marte had a tough at bat his first AB. It's the kind of adjustment he makes here in his second at bat. Looked to me like he just wasn't picking the ball up out of the pitcher's hand.
Marte hitting .348 with runners in scoring position this year. And he flicks that one foul, and it's 0-2.
Marte, another swinger. He's only got 5 walks on the year. He is the guy up there to rip the bat.
The Mets have a nice balance between aggressive hitters and patient hitters. Got a bunch of guys who would prefer to swing early in the count, and yet as a team they're 5th in the league in walks, led by Nimmo and Escobar. 0-2 to Marte. And he goes down swinging for a second time. Corbin going upstairs with the fastball to get him. 5 strikeouts for Corbin, and now he's got a way to get through the inning. Here's your City probables for the remainder of the series. Tyler McGill against the former Blue Jay Aaron Sanchez tomorrow night, and then the day game on Thursday, Taijuan Walker against Joan Adon, who pitched very well against the Mets his first time out.
And that's been what your Achilles heel of the Nationals has been their starting pitching.
Well, they have 3 starters on the injured list: Strasburg, Anibal Sanchez, and Joe Ross, and that certainly has hurt them. Here's Escobar, and he pounds one into the ground on a slider, 0-1. So after an infield hit, a stolen base, and a walk, Corbin survives a 107-mile-an-hour line drive by J.D. Davis for the first out, and then strikes out Marte, and now a chance to get through this inning unscathed. Escobar came in hitting about 60 points higher right-handed than left. One of the few Mets who has thrived against left-handed pitching. And he takes a back foot slider for ball, 1-1. You see the contrast in numbers, much better batting right-handed. Of course, more limited bats. Mets are playing their 31st game. This is only the 8th left-handed starter they faced. They beat a lefty starter on Sunday when Christopher Sanchez started against them in Philadelphia. And Escobar pounds that one into the ground foul, and it's 1-2. I have to say, Keith, that compared to last year and the first time we saw him this year, Corbin's got a little better look from his slider. You think?
Yes, and also his changeup has been effective. He's used it sparingly here to get an out, but it's a good pitch against a right-hander.
One-two coming to Escobar, and that's up and in. 2-2. Jeff McNeil would be next. Mets have had 3 hits. The Nats have had only 1. Opportunity with 2 out in the 3rd inning that Corbin was able to get through. Got the first 2 on here in the 4th, but now 2 out. Two coming to Escobar, and he fouls one off the fists out of play.
Wonder if he's going to try to get him with after that fastball in. Try to get him with a changeup here.
Two out, 2 on, 2-2 to Escobar. And he comes inside again, and now it's a full count. So that'll get an automatic start for Lindor and Alonso with 3-2 and 2 down. Escobar working back from behind in the count to get it full. Escobar has drawn 17 walks this year, which is 6th in the National League. A guy who has never been known as a patient hitter, but he's added that to his repertoire. Right now just trying to get a hit. hitless in his last 14 at bats. Lindor and Alonso get set to run. And Escobar lines one left field, sinking fast, but on comes Hernandez to get it. And that retires the side. Escobar lines out to left, and Corbin survives a rocky 4th inning. To the bottom of the 4th, no score. Juan Soto leads off the home 4th inning against Carlos Carrasco and takes fastball on the inside corner for a strike. Soto swung at the first pitch he saw tonight and lined out to short. Soto generally among the more patient hitters in the game. His swing rate, percentage of pitches he swings at, is the 3rd lowest in baseball. He swings at 35% of the pitches he sees. Led the league in walks last year, leads the league in walks this year. And he hits one off the mound right to Lindor, playing behind the bag. 1 out. So twice Soto has hit the ball right to Lindor, who's been positioned perfectly. And with that, Carrasco's now retired 8 in a row. Talked to Buck Showalter before the game about how you approach this Nationals lineup. After all, Bell has been killing it. Yadiel Hernandez is off to a great start. I said, does that affect at all the way you deal with Soto? And he said, absolutely not. It's the guy in the lineup you have to respect the most.
Absolutely.
And no matter what the numbers say so far this year, that remains the case.
There's Buck always teaching. Nice changeup from Carrasco. It's really a good pitch.
Bell got one in on his hands and muscled into the left field for the only hit of this game against Carrasco. Josh Bell now in his 2nd year with the Nats, had a good bounce back season last year after leaving Pittsburgh, and he's got himself his 2nd hit of this game, a line single to center. So after a changeup got a swinging strike, Carrasco came right back with the same pitch, and Bell is 2 for 2.
Well, there's your almost like a split, and he gets it to sink, but it's up. And Bell stays back and waits on it nicely.
Joe Bell continues to rack up the base hits. He's got his average up to 356 now. 1 out and 1 on. Here's Nelson Cruz, who struck out his first time up. Carrasco threw fastballs by him. And he starts him with a fastball, and that one's lined for a base hit. Bell will pull on its 2nd. So back-to-back base hits by Bell and Cruz, and the Nats have something working in the 4th.
No, bullet off the bat. He blew it by Cruz the first time up. This time Cruz up to the task. That was a kind of a backup slider right there.
So here's Yadiel Hernandez, who struck out his first time up. So the Nats have a runner to second base for the first time.
Yadiel 9 for 18 with runners in scoring position so far this season. 500.
Fastball away from Carrasco, ball 1. Conversely, Carlos Carrasco this year with runners in scoring position has held the opposition to a 179 average. Never better than in that last start against Atlanta when he held them to 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Hernandez fouls one on the changeup. 1-1. So those numbers Keith was referring to.
Yeah, 2 doubles in there with the home run. So, you know, you of the 9 hits, 3 extra base hits, and a lot of RBI.
Not much speed out there with Bell at 2nd and Cruz at 1st. Carrasco way over on that extreme first base side of the rubber. No pitch calm for McCann and Carrasco tonight, flashing old-fashioned signs, and the changeup misses 2-1.
Pretty much straight up on the infield, straight up in the outfield against Hernandez. Lindor shading up the middle. More than shading.
And they're really bunched in that middle, with McNeil over toward the bag as well. Grounded down to first. Alonso's going to go to second with it. Hesitated slightly. Gets the out there, but that's all. So they erase Cruz on the 3-6 force play. Bell moves to third. Hernandez aboard. 2 out.
Pete does a good job of getting rid of the ball on that double play. He's right-handed, so he's at a disadvantage. You know, it's a position tailor-made for a lefty, but Pete's very quick in doing the pivot and getting. He's very accurate with his throws and quick with his throws. And I like his glove. I love the lace.
When you're playing deep like that with runners at first and second, as opposed to holding the bag with just a runner at first, are you almost thinking about getting one out rather than trying to get two?
Never. Never, never, never. That's the advantage is a lost second there with a right-hander, because he has to make that turn. With a left-hander can field and just like throw like a quarterback throwing a quick look in, a slant in over the middle. You know, a 3-step drop back, boom. The right-hander has to turn around, and those are valuable. That's a valuable step you lose.
I guess my question is, aren't you also losing a step being back as opposed to in? That's driven toward right center away from Nimmo, and it's down for a base hit for Franco, and that'll bring in the game's first run. Bell is in. Hernandez going to try to score. Relay by McNeil to the plate, and McCann has the ball in plenty of time to tag out Yadiel Hernandez. Perfect relay throw by Jeff McNeil to prevent the second run from scoring. Maikel Franco's double gives the Nats the lead, bringing in Bell. But the Mets execute a perfect relay to keep a second run off the board. RBI double, but the Mets executing to prevent a second run from scoring.
They execute on 3 times in this one play, and one is Nimmo gets to the ball, cuts it off. That ball gets to the wall, 2-run score. He cuts it off, and not only that, perfect relay throw to McNeil. McNeil, perfect relay throw to McCann. Fundamentals, those are your fundies. Well, here's the base hit here. Up and away fastball. Franco, a high ball hitter. Now Nimmo cuts this ball off and doesn't rush the throw. It's a perfect relay. 2 perfect relays. The only thing bad that happened in this whole play is Hernandez not sliding. You slide, you might kick the ball out of the catcher's glove.
McNeil slices one foul.
I just don't understand. It's like playing patty cake. Come on, let's go.
McNeil hit one that Cesar Hernandez at second base made a terrific play on in the 3rd inning. Corbin now staked to a 1-0 lead as he works in the 5th. And misses outside with a fastball to McNeil. 2-2. Coors Light beating the pressure. McNeil started the day at .323. We are right up to the minute, updating his average. That's good. You're on fire down there in the truck. Wastes away another fastball, and it's 2-2. James McCann on deck, then Brandon Nimmo. You know, watching Jeff McNeil day after day, it's amazing how accurate his throws are, whether he's throwing the ball to first, throwing it home, throwing from left field. You almost take that for granted.
He's a very alert player.
Slider in the dirt. 3-2. Jeff has had himself a fine opening third of the season. Buck Showalter was marveling today about his ability to go back and forth from second base to left field and make the transition like it's nothing. And he said it's not nothing. 3-2 coming, and he walked him. So that's the third walk given up by Corbin, and the Mets have the tying run aboard to start the fifth. Let's go back to that relay.
Well, we got two great relay, not great, proper relay throws. Watch McNeil go out in the shallow, go out into the shallow outfield. Perfect. Look how he's got his body turned, so he makes a quick throw home. You don't want to have your back to home plate when you're a relay guy. You want to, if you're right-handed, you want to turn your back to the side, so you make the catch and you can throw. If you got your back to home plate, then you got to pivot, and those are lost. That's a lost second, a lost step. It might cost you getting the runner out or safe at home. So there's Jeff receiving. Look how he's turned. Perfect. Look at that. No wasted motion. That is how it's done. That is textbook.
And that crow hop on the catch, that's part of it?
Well, you can do that. He's got to gather himself and get in a position to throw. The whole key, too, is when you're a relay guy, don't rush the throw.
McCann lifts one out to right center. Back in the gap goes Robles. He'll get there on the warning track and make the catch. Tagging at first is McNeil, and McNeil gets to second base. Good base running by Jeff. Once he realized that Robles was going to catch that ball, went back to tag and beat the play to second to move that tying run into scoring position.
That'll make his manager happy. Saw him nod there. And that's just good base running, good instincts. Now you're going to go halfway. And now once he realizes it's not going to get out, the wind's blowing in, tag up and see if he can do it. That's just good base running.
Slid to the inside of the bag when he saw D. Strange Gordon go out to get it. Buck liked what he saw there. So now Nimmo will try and get him in. Brandon out of base hit to left field his last time up, 1 for 2. Corbin starts his third time around the order. And first pitch slider to get ahead on Nimmo, 0-1. So far tonight are 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. They had a golden chance in the fourth inning when they got their first two men on. But a couple of line drive outs, bracketing a strikeout, got Corbin through it. And Adams goes down to block that slider, a ball and a strike.
Brandon has become quite a good hitter against left-hand pitching. He stays in, and we've been watching him progress for quite a while now. Is he the longest tenured Met, right, Garrett?
Well, except for DeGrom.
Right, exactly.
Among the active players, yeah.
Right. And his progress watching has been fun to watch.
By the way, speaking of Jacob deGrom, there was news on a couple of fronts today. One, the Mets claimed a player off waivers from the Cubs, a left-handed reliever named Locke St. John. And to make room, they moved Jake to the 60-day injured list, which really has no impact. He wasn't coming back, before the middle of June anyway, which is when he'll now be eligible. But the other thing is Billy Epler told reporters that Jake is now throwing lightly from 60 feet. So that's progression from the last we had heard. 2-1 coming. And there's fastball strike to Nimmo, and it's 2-2.
Pretty good paint right there. Good 2-1 pitch.
So Jacob is about a week away now from his next imaging that will reveal whether that stress reaction is completely healed and he can get the thumbs up to go full bore.
And as long as the team is playing as it is, 20-10 through the first 30, then you can be patient and err on the side of caution.
Yeah,
Jacob.
I don't think it matters how the team's playing. They're not going to take any chances and rush him in any way.
But still,
it takes the pressure off for sure.
Yep.
The fact that McGill has been so good and Carrasco's having a bounce back year and Peterson's filled in nicely where you've needed him. I mean, everything's gone right with this rotation. Scherzer and Bassett pitching like the studs that you expected them to be.
Boy, I tell you, Corbin with McNeil and Nimmo, 2 left-hand hitters, refuses to come inside. He loves that outside corner.
Nimmo took him the other way last time up. Now he's worked a 3-2 count. Adams checking his device, pushes the right button, he hopes. Now the 3-2, and Nimmo takes another walk. So that is 4 walks issued by Corbin, 2 in this inning. And Mark Canha will come up with 2 men on, and we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Guys, we know how cerebral of a hitter Mark Canha is. We've talked a lot about that so far this season. And despite a really hot start to the season, numbers-wise, he's hitting over 300. He's decided that he's going to change things in terms of his approach and his mechanics at the plate. Why? Well, he doesn't think it's sustainable. His batting average on balls in play is over 400. There's an expected regression with that number to about 300. You see how much higher that is than league average right now. And his hard hit percentage is just 20th percentile in Major League Baseball. Despite hitting for average, he's got just 2 extra base hits. So without getting too technical, in part because it's a little too complex for, I think, anybody other than a major leaguer to fully understand, he's trying to get much more directional to the baseball instead of rotational. Feels like he's been getting around the baseballs too much, so working a lot before games in the cage, trying to drive that ball up the middle a little bit more because he thinks that the current approach is going to fall off at some point.
Good grief, Steve, how did you get all that in?
Well, we had a pitching meeting, so I knew I had a little bit more time.
Oh my gosh.
Timing is everything. Thanks, Steve.
I always like, see the ball and hit it.
That was the Tom McCraw approach. Remember Tom?
Yes.
Old Mets old hitting coach. Canha pops one up in his shallow right, easy for Soto. And that's the second out. So Canha's now 0 for 3. And the Mets again failed to move a runner in scoring position. And Corbin's got another escape hatch if he can get through Francisco Lindor.
81 pitches.
Tom McCraw was the Mets hitting coach back in the 90s, and his philosophy of hitting was very simple. And I have to, delete a few of the words that he would use, but he would say, see the ball, hit the ball.
Yep. Sometimes you can overthink. I was guilty of that. I was always worried about my swing, but I never changed my swing.
There's Lindor. And he takes a back foot slider for ball 1.
It's an important pitch right there. You got Alonso behind Lindor, getting ahead 1-0, and particularly on a secondary pitch, Gary. That was a changeup. It's like, okay, men on base. He's missed 1-0. I'm in the driver's seat here.
Now let's get their bullpen working. Carl Edwards, who was just called up today, has begun loosening up with Corbin up to 82 pitches. Lindor had an infield hit his last time, and he takes a letter high fastball for a strike, and it's 1-1. Well, Corbin's numbers overall are not pretty, but he has been trending in the right direction. 2 good starts in a row and another good one so far tonight. And look at the number at the bottom. Only 1 home run allowed now through 32 innings this year.
He's been walking a tightrope here in this game. He's been in trouble the last 3 innings.
4 walks have hurt him. And that one just missed to Lindor, and it's 2-1. Alonso looming on deck, and that's got to inform the way Corbin attacks this at bat with Lindor. Corbin threw 94 pitches in 8 innings his last start. He's up to 84 pitches in the 5th inning today. He's trying to think this one through. McNeil led off the inning with a walk. He's at second. Nimmo walked. He is at first with 2 out. That's down 1-0 as they bat in the 5th. And it's inside to Lindor, and now it's 3-1.
He's cruising for a bruising, Gare. I mean, he's just like getting himself in behind the 8 ball here.
There's Carl Edwards, just recalled today by the Nats. So Lindor should get a pitch to hit here on 3-1 with Alonso next. And Francisco bloops one behind second base. In comes Robles to make the catch. We told you Robles plays shallow. That's why.
Yep.
To pick off just that kind of a bloop. That gets Corbin through the top of the 5th, halfway through, 1-0 Nats. D. Strange Gordon gave one a ride to the warning track in right field on the first pitch of the bottom of the 5th. But Starling Marte able to go back a step from the wall and grab it for a long first out.
Well, the wind has kind of died, but still there's a breeze that's blowing in directly from right field.
You know what that reminds me of, Keith, right? The first game after Jose Fernandez died, when Gordon faced Bartolo Colon leading off, hadn't hit a home run all year, and hit one up into the seats in right field in Marlins Park. It was an emotional moment for everybody, and D doesn't hit a lot of home runs, but nearly had another one there.
He's got pop for a little guy.
He was a tremendous player for the Marlins. Two-time All-Star, stolen base leader. His career has fallen off the last few years. Went to Seattle. Didn't play in the big leagues at all last year. He was with 3 different AAA teams: the Cubs, Milwaukee, and Pittsburgh. They all let him go.
And he's a batting champion.
Yep.
2015 with the Marlins.
0-2 to Riley Adams, who flied out his first time up. And Carrasco misses up and away, 1-2. He has 18 home runs in his major league career. But none will ever be as memorable as that one in 2016. 2-2 now to Adams. And I can't speak for Bartolo, but I kind of had the feeling that maybe he grooved one for him.
Oh.
Remember when the at bat started for the first pitch, D went up there right-handed to pay tribute to Jose Fernandez.
That's right.
And then switched batting helmets, went back in from his accustomed left side, and then hit the home run.
It was quite a moment.
They all wore number 16 that day in tribute to Jose. Adams socks one to deep left field. Canick can only watch this one go out of here. Riley Adams with his 2nd home run of the year to double the Nationals lead. It's now 2-0. So after Gordon nearly hit one out, Adams, who has a lot more power, hits one into the seats and left. And it's 2-0 Washington.
Well, he gets a hanger here, Gare. Here's the slider. Stays right down the pipe in the wheelhouse. Didn't get on top of it enough. A little too much of a 3/4 delivery there, and it flattened out.
You could almost see McCann cringe as that ball lay right over the heart of the plate for Adams to hit.
2nd home run for Adams on the year, limited playing time.
3rd home run Carrasco's given up in his 6 starts this year. Victor Robles popped up his first time up. And he takes a fastball in the corner, and it's 1-1.
I must say, Ryan Willis, the home plate umpire, is having himself a nice day back there. He's calling good balls and strikes. Oh, good pitch. That bottom just dropped out of that one.
Changeup maybe has been his best pitch today.
Yes.
And he goes right back to it to strike out Robles for the second out.
Oh man, I mean, if you could do that every pitch, that's just a tough pitch for a hitter to, particularly a right-hand hitter. It's like it acts like a sinker, and it gets under your bat. Tough pitch. And left-hander has a better chance because it's like a sinker breaking away from you, and you can go the other way with it. But a right-hander, oh my goodness.
So 2 out here, Cesar Hernandez, who struck out twice against Carrasco, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Cookie has struck out 5. He hasn't walked a batter. He's given up 2 runs and 5 hits. Mets have had their chances against Corbin the last 3 innings, but have left 6 runners on base in those 3 innings, leaving it 2-0 Washington. The question is going to be how much further, if at all, Corbin can go in this game. They've got Carl Edwards warming up like he means it in the Washington bullpen. Corbin having thrown 86 pitches over the first 5 innings. And it's fouled away by Hernandez, 1-2.
I see the Red Sox have jumped all over the Braves early, 6-1 in the 3rd. Not one team over 500 in the National League East, only the Metsies.
Who started that game for
I don't
Atlanta?
know.
Was that Wright? Yeah, Kyle Wright, who had been so good starting out the year. That's grounded on the right side from McNeil from the outfield grass, and he throws out Hernandez to end the inning, but the Riley Adams home run doubles the Nationals lead. 2-0 Washington going to the 6th. Get up to the minute baseball chatter as our insiders share their opinions on the latest Mets and Yankees news. Baseball Night in New York presented by your Tri-State Cadillac dealers, weeknights at 6. Only on SNY. It's a great sound effect.
Yes.
Veteran right-hander Carl Edwards Jr. will make his Nationals debut. Pitched last year for Atlanta and Toronto. He's bounced around quite a bit since he first spent some productive years with the Cubs.
Big curveball, long legs. Another tall blade of grass.
Like Tom Hall. Remember Tom Hall?
Yes, I do.
The blade?
I faced Tom Hall.
He was a hard-throwing lefty, but he was little.
Originally with Baltimore.
Minnesota, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, and yes. I faced him when he was on the back half of his career.
Edwards just called up today, with Andres Machado going back down to AAA. Pete Alonso's been up twice and walked twice against Patrick Corbin. So Corbin able to work himself out of jams the last few innings. Threw 86 pitches over 5 innings. Allowed no runs and 3 hits. He walked 4, struck out 5, and leaves with a 2-0 lead. And Alonso watches that curveball sail out of the strike zone, 1-2. Well, so far this season, Alonso's got more home runs against the National League East than anybody, more RBIs against the National League East. Mets have played every team in the division except Miami. They won't see the Marlins until next month. Alonso drives one into right center for a base hit.
Beautiful.
So Pete greets the right-hander Edwards with yet another right field hit. That has been his 2-strike regimen this year.
Pete is, look at him get on top of this pitch out of the strike zone and just gets on top. That's just good hitting right there. That was a high slider.
So the Mets have their 4th hit, and J.D. Davis comes to bat. J.D.'s hit 2 bullets to the second baseman, 1 into a double play and 1 a line out. And he takes a rip at a fastball and misses, 0-1.
Guys, I was talking to Pete Alonso about why he's got so many more hits early this season to the opposite field. It's always been a part of his game when his approach is at its best, but it seems to be happening so much more often right now. He said it's really because of 2 things. One, he's been more consistent with that approach, but he feels like pitchers are really trying to stay away from him more than they even have in the past, and he's just going with what they're throwing. taking it the opposite way, and whenever they make a mistake, that's when we see it leave the yard.
Well, he's gotten on base 3 times today. 2 walks and now that opposite field hit to get the tying run to bat. Keith mentioned about the Nats and their propensity for giving up leads. 10 times this year they've lost games where they've had leads. Let's try to make it 11. And JD hits one right back through the middle for a base hit. Alonso pulls in at second. So Alonso and Davis both behind in the count, both use the middle of the field, and each has a base hit to start this 6th inning.
Well, the Mets have left 6 men on base the last 3 innings. 2 in each inning, and here we are again. Now they're in business here. A hanging slider right down the pipe. And he almost hit into another double play, and it would have been a very frustrating 0 for 3 for JD. He hit the ball hard 3 times.
So the Mets have the tying runs on base with nobody out, and now Starling Marte, who has been up twice, struck out both times against Corbin, now facing Carl Edwards, and takes curveball out of the strike zone for ball 1.
Boy, Edwards wanted that one.
The Nats will keep their bullpen busy. Steve Cishek, who was in the middle of some unpleasantness the first time the Mets were in town here, it was when he hit Francisco Lindor in the face, bringing Buck Showalter incensed out of the dugout, and led to that first bench clearing incident for the Mets this year, but not their most recent. And Marte takes a fastball inside, and now Edwards behind him 2-0. That's what Keith was talking about. The bullpen has been vastly unreliable. And Marte swings over a sinker, and it's 2-1.
And this Nationals team, I mean, they've won 10 games, but they've only got 3 saves. And Rainey's been very good. He's their closer, but
except he blew a save in their last game in Anaheim.
Right, was first blown save. He was 3 of 3 going into that game last night, 2 nights ago.
Marte's having problems. That was a fastball right down the middle.
The Mets have had their opportunities.
Mets left 2 on base in each of the last 3 innings. Got the first 2 on in this inning, and Marte strikes out for the 3rd time. So Carl Edwards fans Marte 1 away. Escobar coming up. Let's check in with the studio. Eamon McEnany has a game break. Eamon. The game Ronnie's doing tonight, right?
Yes.
Hope he's being entertained. I know we're being entertained. Here's Eduardo Escobar, struck out and lined out to left.
Good sinker here. Watch the sink. Oh, the changeup. Watch the sink. Tough pitch. That's a pitcher's pitch.
That's a new pitch for Edwards. He was strictly a fastball curveball guy, so he clearly has come up with a new wrinkle.
Well, you got to find new things when you've been bouncing around.
Right.
Try to stay in the big leagues. Don't want to get out of uniform, Gary. Getting civvies.
And you'd be like you and me. 1-1 to Escobar.
He's liking his changeup right now.
Well, Edwards, if you go back to the last decade, he had 2 tremendous years for the Cubs in 2017 and 18, but nothing has really gone right for him since then. Gone from the Cubs to the Padres to the Mariners to the Braves to the Blue Jays, and now lands in Washington. And that fastball up and away, 2-1 to Escobar. Escobar 0 for his last 15. He needs to break out in a big way, and the Mets could certainly use one with the tying runs on base and 1 out in the 6th. 3 infielders on the right side against Eduardo. And he fouls away that fastball, and it's 2-2.
Good cutter on the hands there after everything away.
Jeff McNeil on deck. Carl Edwards from Prosperity, South Carolina. Looking to prosper in our nation's capital. And this is with that changeup, and now it's 3-2 to Escobar.
The Nationals pitchers have been flirting with danger, and the Mets have just not been able to get the big hit so far.
Mets are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. 3-2 now to Escobar with 2 aboard. And Eduardo takes ball 4. And so now the bases are loaded for McNeil. It's 5 walks now for Washington pitching. And they continue to court disaster.
3-2 changeup, and that's going to get Jim Hickey out, pitching coach.
Well, it's clear that Edwards has a new toy that he is loving, and he used it to strike out Marte.
If he's inconsistent with it.
Well,
and now he's got Jeff up here, and Jeff's so clutch.
That's the problem with a new toy. Sometimes, you know, sometimes the batteries run out. You need to go get new batteries. So now McNeil has seen Edwards these last 4 plate appearances. Just saw Escobar, the first got about left-handed against Edwards. So what's his thought process now?
Thought process is you got the pitcher in trouble. He is got the bases loaded. He has brought this on himself. He's walked the last batter. What is surprising is Edwards always been known for his big curveball. He's only thrown it once in this inning. Twice, I should say. He's been throwing the changeup. Just go up the middle, base hit here, Gare, and don't let the pitcher get ahead of you with a fastball. You got him in trouble here. Mets got the right guy up.
Alonso at third, Davis at second, Escobar at first with 1 out. Infield at double play depth and playing straight up against McNeil, who's grounded out and walked today, 0 for 1. And Jeff takes first pitch inside for ball 1. McNeil hitting .346 this year with runners in scoring position.
That is 9 for 26. And you're giving him that left side of the infield. Remember, the Squirrel was talking with Steve Gelbs about how he likes to place that ball over there. They throw him away if they give him that hole.
And he pops one foul off the left side. 1-1.
He's not happy with that swing. He's a perfectionist.
James McCann on deck. Cishek ready in the bullpen if they need him behind Edwards, who's given up 2 hits and a walk and gotten just 1 out.
Boy, he's choking up around 3-4 inches.
And McNeil shoots one down to first. It gets by Bell. Alonso is in. Here comes Davis to score. The game is tied. On to third goes Escobar. McNeil winds up at second, and the Mets have gotten even at 2-2. A hot shot, too hot for Bell to handle. And the Mets get even.
We'll see how they're going to score that. That'd be a tough E to take if you're the hitter.
Well, Jeff McNeil, yet another hard hit ball off a Met bat. This one produces 2 runs.
No, cutter that didn't cut. Oh, he didn't get in front. It's got to be an error, Gare. He did not get in front of that ball. No movement to the right at all. Played that into a double.
Waiting to see how they're going to score it. Meanwhile, the Nats bring the infield in to face McCann with runners at second and third, and Edwards misses with a fastball for ball one. So the Mets set the table. Base hits by Alonso and Davis, both behind in the count. And then the one-out walk to Escobar. McNeil will get credit for a double.
Two
RBIs.
I agree, because the first baseman played it into a double.
Now McCann looking for more. And he fouls back a high fastball, and it's 1-1.
Well, that's a big clutch hit. It just seems like the Mets always, sooner or later, they strike.
Now McCann trying to get the lead run home. He's already singled to left and fly deep to center field. Ball and 2 strikes to McCann. Edwards has faced 5 batters. He's gotten only 1 out. 3 hits and a walk in his Nationals debut.
Oh my goodness, you dirty rat. Shoo!
Coming your way. 1-2 coming. McCann gets one out to right center field. Tagging at third is Escobar. Soto gets behind it to make the catch. Here comes Escobar. Here comes the throw, and Escobar scores, and the Mets take the lead. James McCann with the sacrifice fly, and it's 3-2 New York.
Well, everything done right with Soto here. A strong throw, but Escobar can scoot.
Escobar comes home with the go-ahead run. McNeil went to third on the play. 3 runs home in the inning, 2 out, and now Nimmo, who's gotten on base his last 2 times with a single and a walk. 21st straight game he's reached base. And Nimmo takes a fastball inside for ball 1.
Watch Brandon here on the bottom of your screen, and that's okay. That's all very great. He's telling him to slide, but he's an on-deck batter. Get there and help your base runner.
He was not fooling around. It wasn't just the old Wojo slap the floor thing. It was the full body maneuver. 2-0 to Nimmo. I mean, you got to put your whole self into it, right?
Yes, I agree.
This team is all in.
You know how many times I see on-deck batter just not help the base runner? Don't go get the bat. I mean, the Mets have just been on point.
Two 2-0 to Nimmo. And that's high ball 3. Well, I go back to the first 2 hitters in the inning. Alonso and Davis both down in the count, and both using the middle of the field to get base hits. Meanwhile, the Nationals outfielders are looking to call animal control. Just throw him a slice of pizza. That's worked in the past. Here's a 3-0 to Nimmo, and there's a call, strike 3-1.
Some cheese.
No, it's not a raccoon. Stop it. 30th pitch of the inning from Edwards, and Nimmo takes a strike, and it's 3-2. Well, Carl Edwards with his season debut, his Nationals debut, and it's not going the way he would have hoped. Was handed a 2-0 lead after Patrick Corbin threw 5 scoreless, and the Mets have broken through. Now it's 3-2 to Nimmo with McNeil at third and 2 out. And that's strike 3 call. So after Edwards got behind 3-0, Nimmo took 3 straight strikes, and the inning comes to an end. Big hit by McNeil to tie it. McCann's sacrifice fly gives the Mets the lead. Carlos Carrasco staked to the lead for the first time as we go to the bottom of the 6th, facing Juan Soto, who again attacks a first pitch. He did that his first time up and lined out to short. Saw 3 pitches in his second at bat, grounded out to short. And now down in the count 0-1 as we start the bottom of the 6th. Soto, Bell, and Cruz for Carrasco, looking for a shutdown inning after being handed the lead. And Soto pounds one under the ground. 0-2. Carrasco just 66 pitches through 5 innings. Remember, he went 8 innings in his last start, pitching with a full week's rest.
Soto, watch the front foot. He's got 2 strikes now. It won't be so extreme. But look how widespread.
Juan Soto led the National League in on-base percentage last year at .465. He is up among some elite company.
Jimmy Fox,
Ted Williams, Willie Mays hit toward the hole. That one will sneak through for a base hit. So the Mets in the shift against Soto. He found the vacant space, and he's got a leadoff single to start the home 6th.
pretty good pitch, very good pitch. Tip your hat to a very good hitter. And here's the changeup sinking away. That is a good location for that pitch, and that's just good hitting. Sometimes you got to tip your hat. Stays back and just kind of. That's a pitch you can't do much with. You got 2 strikes. You're protecting the plate. It's not a pitch that you can drive. It's only a pitch you can go the opposite field and get a base hit. Try to get a base hit.
So now the red-hot Josh Bell, who's 2 for 2 in this game. He dunked one into left field for a hit in the first and then singled hard to center in the 4th. Tying run at first with nobody out. It's a good changeup by Carrasco, and it's 1-1.
Such an effective pitch for Carlos.
Bell's off to a great start this year, but it's not particularly fast, and he hits a lot of ground ball double plays. He's already hit to 7 this year.
And he's not known for his glove, and it showed tonight on that double off the bat of McNeil.
Carrasco blows a fastball by him after setting him up with the changeup, and now it's 1-2. Each team with 6 hits in this game. The Nats got a run in the 4th on the Maikel Franco RBI double. Mets made a terrific defensive relay to keep it from being worse. Riley Adams homered in the 5th, and then the Mets put up that 3 spot in the 6th. Bell hits a double play ball right at McNeil, and Lindor with the turn for the 4-6-3 double play. Just what Carrasco needed. The 8th double play that Bell has grounded into this season. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, tailor-made right here. That should, in the major leagues, that is a double play, and that's a pitcher's best friend.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Nelson Cruz, who had a base hit his last time up, and that one comes inside. That Nick McCann.
It's fouled off the bat, was it not?
It was.
On the ricochet.
Get him on the wrist.
Let's see. No.
That looks like catcher's interference from here.
I think it got the back of his glove. So it had to hurt his hand.
Well, if the bat hit the glove, it's catcher's interference, but
I don't.
Cruz is not arguing for that.
No, I don't think it did.
Interesting. Fly ball center field. Nimmo's got room. And that retires the side. Double play. Cruz fruitful for Carrasco. Shutdown inning. 3-2 Mets after 6. Stream the Mets with the new SNY app. Watch live Mets games, pre and post game shows, and all SNY programming anytime, anywhere, on any device with an in-market TV provider subscription. The SNY app. Scan the code and download now. Of course, the Dodgers are blowing out the Pirates. The Pirates actually had the temerity to beat the Dodgers last night.
They sure did.
And they even got a win from a starting pitcher.
Their first time.
First time all year.
And the Dodgers going into that game, starting pitchers were 15-2, and they beat Urias. So now 15-3 LA starters. LA's pitching has just been phenomenal.
Steve Cishek on to pitch for the Nats as we go to the 7th. And the second batter he'll face in the inning is Francisco Lindor, whom he hit in the face with a pitch when the Mets were here the first week of the season. Marcana is 0 for 3 tonight. And he takes a strike. By the way, the starting pitcher who won for the Pirates last night was Jose Quintana, who hadn't gotten a win since 2019.
He's the one with the White Sox and the Cubs? The lefty.
28 games into the season, Pirates got their first win from a starter. That was a major league record. Canna hits a ground ball on the left side. Strange Gordon gets the big hop. High throw, and Bell can't get the tag down. So D. Strange Gordon, with the most routine of plays, makes a bad throw, and the Mets have a leadoff base runner.
And Canna running the ball out. This is a hustling bunch.
Another ball put in play on an 0-2 pitch. So here comes Lindor. Last time Cishek and Lindor squared off against each other, it did not end well.
Oh my God. Well, this was just a culmination of hit by pitches and a veteran pitcher.
Remember that McCann had been hit high on the shoulder the first game of the season. Then Alonso got hit in the face. And then the next day Lindor got hit in the face. And that was when Buck said, we've had enough. It has not certainly slowed the number of Mets that have been hit. Alonso got hit in the helmet a second time in St. Louis.
The Mets have been bruised up a bit this year.
Well, they've been hit 23 times. That's more than any other team. And Cishek keeps the ball away from Lindor. 1-1. Francisco's 1 for 3 tonight. Had an infield hit and stole a base in the 4th. Canna at first and nobody out. Full shift on against Lindor, and he bloops one foul off the left side. That'll go out of play, and it's 1-2. Now with 2 strikes, they're going to send Franco over to the right side of the infield, put Strange Gordon back on the left, and leave the third baseline open for Lindor.
Got a sinker ball pitcher out there.
And Lindor down on strikes, so Cishek goes up and away to strike out Francisco for the first out in the 7th. That's 8 strikeouts for Nats pitching tonight. 1 out and 1 on, and here's Alonso. And that hit to right field his last time up. Almost as many hits to right field as he's had to left field this year. That's stunning.
It looks like fireworks, but you can see basically, Pete, it's a gap-to-gap hitter.
Of course, the big fireworks are when he hits them, 50 rows back in the stands like he did on Sunday.
When he crushes them.
Yeah.
He is a polar bear not to be tangled with.
I mean, you think of those right field hits as like sparklers, and the ones up the middle like Roman candles, and then the ones he hits into the seats in left field, those are the
M80s,
the big bombers. He certainly has enjoyed his time hitting against the Nationals. It's only one hitter since the Expos franchise was started who has a better OPS than Pete, and that's Albert Pujols. But this time, Cishek gets the better of him with a slider. So back-to-back strikeouts for Cishek as Alonso is retired for the first time tonight.
There's the target off the plate. And this is a side armor. It's tough on right-handers. It's tough to lay off that pitch.
So 2 out, Canha still at first, and here's J.D. Davis, who's hit 3 bullets tonight. Finally got some satisfaction his last time up with a base hit to center field. And he almost gets hit by that first pitch slider. Oh boy, it's all we need is more of that.
Well, when you get hit by a breaking ball, it's unintentional, and Cishek wasn't intentional when he just about clocked Lindor.
Cishek has hit 3 batters this year, 49 in his career. And that slider misses up and in, and it's 2-0. JD's 3 batted balls tonight have all been 107 miles an hour or more.
He's had a nice day at the plate. Night at the plate.
First one was a double play grounder. Second one was a line out. Third was a base hit up the middle. And another slider misses, and it's 3-0.
Well, Cishek can miss with that slider.
Well, you know he's going to have the green light here, right? 2
yeah,
out.
Yeah, why not?
Marte on deck, who's had a rough night.
He's hit the ball hard 3 times. Why not?
Canha at first with 2 out, and JD takes a fastball for a strike. Marte, who will be trying to avoid the dreaded golden sombrero, waiting on deck. And Davis takes another strike. This one a borderline pitch, and it's 3-2. So that'll put Canha in motion from first, and Dahl's going to continue to hold him on. See this more and more. Leaving that hole on the right side open for JD. Canha runs. Cishek fires, and JD fouls off a fastball, and they'll do it again. First time for J.D. Davis facing Steve Cishek, so it's a new experience for him against this side-arming right-hander. He's already seen 6 pitches in this at-bat. And on pitch number 7, he takes a walk. So he started him off with 3 straight sliders, then threw him 4 straight fastballs and winds up walking him. That is 6 walks given up by Nats pitchers. Not a good night so far for Starling Marte.
Well, struck out against Corbin here twice. Both pitches up and away, Gare, if you noticed. And then that was a good pitch by Edwards that got him there. Tip your hat.
So now Marte facing Cishek, against whom he is 2 for 10 in his career, and a first pitch slider off the plate for ball 1. Nets have 6 hits. They've drawn 6 walks. They've left 7 runners on base in the last 4 innings, and they've got 2 on here with 2 out.
Yeah, they certainly had their opportunities to make this really a blowout game.
And Marte shoots one off the pitcher that rolls out to Hernandez, and they get the force to end the inning. It was hit hard, but slowed down by Cishek for the 1-4-6 putout. Stretch time, 3-2 New York. Now, of course, the Washington Nationals began life as the Montreal Expos. Gary Carter, 11 years in Montreal, wears the Expos cap in the Hall of Fame. Great third baseman Tim Wallach.
Larry Walker.
Larry Walker, Hall of Famer.
Oh boy, El Presidente.
Author of A Perfect Game, 245 career wins for Dennis Martinez. Tim Raines, next to Ricky Henderson, as good a leadoff hitter as I think we've ever seen.
No question. Switch hitter.
And Big Vlad. He could hit anything in any location in any direction.
Rusty.
And Le Grand Orange.
Choking up. Big Orange.
No sleeves on cold days at Jerry Park.
Rusty, little svelte there. Look at him. Probably around 217 there.
Le Grand Orange in the flesh.
Oh, Russ.
It's pretty svelte there, too.
Yes, we miss him.
In the orange and blue. Expos began life in 1969, played their first ever game at Shea Stadium, beat the Mets 11-10 that first game. Home runs for Coco LeBoy and relief pitcher Dan McGinn. Then they moved to Washington in 2005, and here they are. 3-2 New York. Yadiel Hernandez hits the first pitch on the ground to Alonso. Nice easy hop for Pete. One pitch and one out for Carrasco, and that's the way Cookie's been rolling. Low pitch count all night. Baseball expanded by 4 teams in 1969. The Seattle Pilots moved the next year to Milwaukee and became the Brewers. The Expos had a 6-game lead when baseball stopped in 1994.
30 games over 500.
And then when baseball resumed in 95, they traded away a good portion of their remaining talent. Here's Maikel Franco, who drove in a run with a double his last time up. Ended up the gap to right center. The other run for the Nats came on a home run by Riley Adams in the 5th. Oh, we have a rally rat sign already. Mets rallied as the rat made its appearance in the outfield, and it's the way things go now. You know, memes develop very quickly, and the Mets apparently have inspired the rally rat meme. Just never know where these things are going to go. Drew Smith is up in the Mets bullpen as Carrasco is about to throw his 80th pitch. Threw 96 in 8 innings in his last start against the Braves. That was 7 days ago, so he's had 2 extra days of rest.
Well, if he can get a quick inning here, he can go 8.
Might do it again. Franco hits one on the ground. Lindor laying out to get it. Up and throwing right on target. Gorgeous play, Francisco Lindor, to get Franco 2 out.
Well, that is a big league play right there. Make your pitcher happy. This is just a terrific play. Diving, then the quickness to get up and throw. Well done. Mets continue to play every aspect of the game beautifully. Just a fine play.
Lindor has played a superb shortstop. That has certainly helped Cookie Carrasco limit his pitch count tonight. Here's D. Strange Gordon taking a fastball for a strike. Strange Gordon made a bid for a home run his last time up. Hit one within a stride of the right field fence that Marte was able to catch. Right before Adams hit a home run that put the Nats up 2-0. And that just misses away. A ball and a strike. Nats though responded with 3 runs in the 6th inning. McNeil had the big hit. McCann drove in the go-ahead run with a sac fly, and Carrasco has made that lead stand up. Strange Gordon drops down a bunt, and they'll never throw him out.
It's a beauty.
He is still one of the fastest guys in the game at age 34. And once he got that ball in that spot, there was no chance.
Beautiful bunt. Shades of Bud Harrelson.
Shades of Juan Pierre.
Yes.
Brett Butler. Other great practitioners of the bunt base hit.
That's just, you can't do any better. Maury Wills was very good at it, Gary.
And now Buck Showalter's on his way out to the mound. Carrasco's only thrown 83 pitches over 6 2/3, but
Wow.
Buck's going to take the ball and bring in Drew Smith to try and close out this 7th inning.
I guess Buck's feeling that Adams hit the home run off him.
So Carrasco, another job well done. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Nissan. Shop NissanUSA.com. Drew Smith coming in. We'll be right back. Francisco Lindor robbing Maikel Franco of a base hit here in the 7th. Little friendly diss.
Oh. I was hoping we'd cut it before all that stuff came out of Franco's mouth.
Drew Smith comes on in relief for New York. Only the 2nd time this year he's been called upon to come in with a man on base, and it's a base stealer in Strange Gordon, whom Drew will spend a good part of his time trying to keep a halter on.
Well, he's been perfect so far this year, and he has moved up the food chain of that bullpen, and he has earned it.
Worked a 1-2-3 inning in the 8th on Sunday in the 2nd game, his most recent outing. Riley Adams homered in the 5th inning against Carrasco, his 2nd of the year, to make it 2-0. D. Strange Gordon, 3-time National League stolen base champ, 333 steals in his career. He carries the tying run at first. And Adams takes a fastball off the plate for ball 1. Since his debut, nobody has more stolen bases than D. Gordon. Not going, and it's fouled off by Adams. A ball and a strike.
Smith not afraid to throw his fastball. This is what he's been all about. He's got good stuff.
Full shift on against Adams. We got the start tonight because Patrick Corbin was pitching, and he's become Corbin's personal catcher. Keibert Ruiz, the young switch hitter, is the #1 catcher for the Nats. Strange Gordon lengthening his lead, and Smith steps off. D looked like he was about to take off right before Smith stepped off.
No crouch to the. Oh, good fastball.
3
right
straight
there.
fastballs to Adams, and it's 1-2.
D. Gordon does not get into a real set crouched position. He's kind of on his lead is straight up.
Well, now it's 1-2, and Gordon has not run yet. So now Smith can concentrate on putting away the hitter Adams.
So the home run that Adams hit off of Carrasco was a hanging slider, a breaking ball. So Smith has opted to pound him with the cheddar. And let's see if he pitch number 4 is a fastball. I believe it's going to be Gary upstairs.
1-2 coming. There goes Gordon. The pitch outside. The throw by McCann. Right on the money. McCann got him again. James McCann with a howitzer. And D. Strange Gordon is gunned down to end the inning. Still 3-2 because James McCann threw another perfect strike.
Good pitch to throw on, but perfect strike is right. McNeil kind of got himself tied up. He shouldn't have his foot in front of the bag there. And then you can almost see guy's ankle turn. And you just don't want to do that because if someone comes in spikes first, you get cut up. So Jeff's lucky to get away with not having a serious injury there.
Jeff's due to bat second in the inning, and he is coming out into the on-deck circle, so it looks like he's okay.
He could have hurt his knee as well.
It'll be the lower third of the order. Escobar, McNeil, and McCann coming up against the former Met Erasmo Ramirez, who pitched for the Mets during the shortened season in 2020 and pitched very effectively. Now with the Nationals. Escobar drew a walk and scored the go-ahead run in the 6th inning. Otherwise 0 for 2. Still trying to snap an 0 for 15 stretch. And Ramirez gets that cutter in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Erasmo Ramirez, one of the few natives of Nicaragua in the major leagues, and he has been everywhere. He was in Detroit last year, now with his 6th different major league team. And Escobar takes the cutter up high, and it's 2-1. And that's a lot of what Erasmo Ramirez will throw. Fastballs and cutters. .32-year-old from Nicaragua deals the 2-1 to Escobar, and he fouls back the fastball, and it's 2-2. Here's the road ahead, brought to you by your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. 2 more games to go in this series. Night game tomorrow, day game Thursday. Then it's home to play the Seattle Mariners for 3 and the Cardinals for 4 before the next road trip takes the Mets to Denver and San Francisco. 2-2 to Escobar, leading off the 8th. And Eduardo goes down swinging on the cutter. And so Erasmo Ramirez has a strikeout. That's the 10th for the Nats tonight. Hey, let's see what's coming up on PointsBet Postgame Live. Gary Apple, Todd Zeal. What you got, guys? Out of small things, big things. Here's McNeil. Takes a fastball low for ball 1. McNeil hit a double right through Josh Bell at first base. With the bases loaded in the 6th that drove in the tying runs. He's also drawn a walk tonight. He was robbed of a base hit by Cesar Hernandez back in the 3rd. So Jeff swung the bat well all night. He's swung the bat well all year. And so he checks the swing on the cutter. It's a strike, 1-1.
So you talk about defense, win or losing your ball games, and Josh Bell, not an accomplished first baseman. That ball was ripped off the bat of Jeff McNeil, but a accomplished first baseman makes that play. It's hit so hard to double play, you're out of a jam.
Up the middle, and McNeil's got his 2nd hit of the night. Jeff continues to hit them where they ain't, and even gets hits when he hits them where they are. And the Mets have a 1-out base runner.
Does it count if it's a soft hit?
Of course. Who cares how hard it's hit?
Well, I agree. Nicely done, Jeff.
I mean, you talk about defense, Keith. You know, you can say that the Mets wouldn't have any runs if Bell fields that hard grounder, and the Mets took a run away with that great relay play they made.
Precisely.
With Nimmo and McNeil. So that right now is the difference in the way this game appears on the scoreboard. Here's McCann, who drove in the go-ahead run with a sac fly in the 6th. And he drops down a bunt. It's a beauty. Franco with the bare hand play, and he got him at first base. That's a great play by Franco. McCann laid down a perfect bunt, and Franco made an even better play to throw him out.
Boy, beautiful play. And it had to be a bare hand too. Right down, maybe the only thing a little bit too hard, but still down the line. That's just a nice play.
Nice stretch by Bell at the other end. Not a sacrifice, just a 5-3 put out. And that's the 2nd out. McNeil now at 2nd. And here's Nimmo, who's been on base twice tonight with a single and a walk. Each team with 7 hits in this game.
Big run to drive in.
And Nimmo takes the cutter down for ball 1. Patrick Corbin started for the Nats, went 5 scoreless innings, walked 4, but gave up only 3 hits and got out of some jams. No such luck for Carl Edwards in his Washington debut. Gave up 3 runs on 3 hits in his inning. Steve Cishek worked around an error and a walk and fanned 2 in the 7th. Now Ramirez working the 8th. And he nicks the inside corner with a fastball to Nimmo, and it's 1-1. Coming up tonight on Geico Sports Night after Todd and Gary are done with the post game. Well, the Rangers, boy, they need some better goaltending, Keith.
They had it all year. I just think they're kind of shell-shocked.
And Tom Brady breaks the bank, moving into our profession.
Oh, boy, the rich get richer, Gare.
Rising tide lifts all boats. Right, Keith?
Well, I don't see how that lifts everybody else up.
Well, you know, you set a standard at a certain level and everybody else just rises to meet it, right, Keith?
Let's just say you can do a lot of good things charitably.
Should I give your boss a call to see whether maybe that'll work in your favor?
It's not happening.
I mean,
if I had that kind of glue, let me tell you, there's so many good things I could donate to. Whoa.
I mean, if Tom Brady's worth $37 million a year in a profession he's never performed in, think of what you're worth. I mean, you've got all this experience under your belt. You're a beloved figure in the broadcasting industry. Tom Brady's a great quarterback, but who knows if he can actually commentate, and he's getting all that money. I think that's great for him, but it's certainly work in your favor.
More.
One thing I know for sure, our old buddy Kevin Burkhart's going to have a good time working with Brady.
Oh, yeah. How about Kev? Huh? Isn't that great?
He's the best, man. We are all so happy for Kevin.
I'll say.
Nothing but great things should always come his way. Full shift on against Nimmo. Shortstop hole wide open. McNeil at second with 2 out. And Brandon watches up and away. Full count. Third straight at bat that Nimmo has run a full count.
Really choking up on that bat, and it's not with 2 strikes.
Three-2 from Ramirez. And that's right to the shortstop. D. Gordon throws him out. Inning over. Base hit and 1 left. Still 3-2 New York in the 8th. There's your M&M's fun fact. Since 1996, half of division winners have had a share of first place entering May 1st. That sounds good for the Mets. Drew Smith starts the 8th inning with a fastball strike to Riley Adams. Adams was at the plate when D. Strange Gordon was caught stealing to end the 7th, and I have a question on the rules as Joely Rodriguez gets up with Juan Soto due up 4th in the inning. That's popped up right near home plate. McCann sheds the mask and calls and makes the catch 1 away. Now Smith came in the 7th to face Riley Adams. But he didn't retire Adams, but he got an out. Now, under the 3-batter rule, is he considered to have faced a batter in the 7th or not?
He threw pitches.
In other words, if he comes out in the 8th, does he have to face 2 more batters, or does he have to face 3 more batters by rule?
That I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't remember this coming up before. I mean, technically, he didn't retire a batter and didn't have a result from a batter. And he faced the same batter leading off in the 8th, so I don't think you'd count him twice. So he probably has to face 3 batters in this inning. Victor Robles has popped up and struck out 0 for 2. Corners are in. And the slider off the plate. 2-0.
I don't like that rule.
No,
anyway,
it's a terrible rule.
I mean, there you see the defense. I'll meet MLB halfway. Let the 7th inning on, let the manager manage. It's a tight game.
Good cut by Robles, and it's 2-1.
You got a 1-run game here. If he wants to use 3 pitchers to 3 separate batters, let him manage from the 7th inning on.
Carlos Carrasco threw 83 pitches over 6 2/3, allowed 2 runs, 7 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts, a home run, lowered his ERA to 3.19. And Robles wouldn't chase the slider, and it's 3-1.
Now Drew's missing with his slider.
Cesar Hernandez, switch hitter on deck. Then you've got Soto, and that's why Joely Rodriguez is getting ready in the bullpen. And Robles takes it low, ball 4. So a good turn at bat there for Robles, laying off some pitches out of the strike zone. And the Nats have the tying run on base and a fast man in Robles. First walk given up by Met pitchers tonight. Well, the Mets were down 2-0 after the Riley Adams home run in the 5th, but the Mets rallied for 3 in the 6th, 2 on a Jeff McNeil double. Mets have had chances to score a whole lot more, but they've gone just 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position, leaving this a 1-run game in the 8th.
So Hernandez, a .326 hitter against left-hand pitching, so that's why only .256 against the right-hander. I got to believe Rodriguez is going to come in to face Soto.
Well, the problem, though, is if you don't get Hernandez out, so you have 2 men on for Soto, then Rodriguez is going to have to face Josh Bell.
Yeah, but Josh Bell's a better left-hand hitter.
Yes, he is.
He's hitting over 400 left-handed. He added to that today.
Drew having trouble throwing strikes. 1-0 to Hernandez, who struck out twice and grounded out against Carrasco. It's interesting looking at the pitch selection for Carrasco today. This is a Nationals team that has hit fastballs far better than they've hit anything else, but Carrasco leaned on his fastball more than usual tonight. Swing and a miss. Another fastball blown by Hernandez, 1-1. Nationals are first in the majors in OPS against fastballs and last in the majors in OPS against everything else coming into the day. Escobar in at the cut of the grass at third against Hernandez, and a little firmer throw to first by Smith, and Robles gets back. Robles has not attempted a stolen base this year, but he can run. Certainly know that from his center field play. Those are the numbers on the Nats, and yet Carrasco's game plan today was to throw his four-seamer. Threw it 57% of the time today, which is a lot more than he normally does. He had been at 44% fastball coming in.
Drew Smith doing a really good job holding the runners tight.
Swing and a miss by Hernandez, and it's 1-2. So Drew relying on his fastball. Tanner Rainey is up in the Nats bullpen, hoping they can at least tie it.
And Joely Rodriguez out in the bullpen has stopped throwing. He is warm and ready.
Ready for Soto, who's next. Drew would like to relieve him of that responsibility and get a ground ball for a double play from Hernandez. 1-2 coming. And he comes inside with the fastball at 96, 2-2. Hernandez 1 for 3 in his career against Drew Smith. Soto looming next. 1-run game in the 8th. Robles the tying run at first. 2-2 coming to Cesar Hernandez. Struck him out. Drew Smith blowing the fastball by Cesar Hernandez, who strikes out for the 3rd time today. So 2 out in the inning, and now Buck Showalter will come in and bring in his left-hander Joely Rodriguez to face Juan Soto with the game on the line.
Up and in fastball. Wanted it away, but perfect miss on the opposite corner above the belt.
Call to the bullpen brought to you by Nissan. Joely Rodriguez coming in to face Juan Soto. We'll be right back.
Bottom 8, Joely Rodriguez on for the Mets, trying to get the final out here with the Mets up by 1, 3-2. And Gary, you were asking the question about the 3-batter rule and if Drew Smith had to face 3 batters in this 8th inning, because in the bottom of the 7th when he came on, the runner was retired on the base paths. And I checked with the league. The answer is yes. You have to face 3 batters. They either have to reach base or be retired. The Mets, however, could have replaced Drew Smith in between the 7th and 8th inning.
Juan Soto pops up the first pitch. Escobar into foul ground. He makes the catch, and the inning is over. Joely Rodriguez throws one pitch. He gets Juan Soto to foul out, and that does it for the Nationals in the bottom of the 8th. Rodriguez gets the job done with just one offering. 3-2 Mets going to the 9th. Ninth inning, 3-2 New York. Marcano leads off against Erasmo Ramirez, who worked a scoreless 8th inning. Canna's 0 for 4 tonight, reached on an error leading off in the 7th. Mets have had numerous chances to score more runs in this game, but they've gone just 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. And they've left 10 runners on base over the first 8 innings. Canna, Lindor, and Alonso as the Mets try to expand their lead in the 9th. So we came into this series, Keith, and we took a look at Juan Soto's numbers, and you know, his overall numbers are not bad, but they're not quite Juan Soto-like, and especially the RBI column is stark. And watching him in this game, he has twice put the first pitch into play, and he made that last out on one pitch, and that's not Juan Soto, and it just seems like he's a different guy right now.
Well, number one, I disagree with you. I guarantee you Juan Soto is not happy with the numbers, his numbers coming into this game. 257. He's not used to being down there a month into the season. Now, he has had coming in now into this game was 2 for 24 with runners in scoring position. Trust me, when you're that number is that bad, you know it. And now he's 2 for 25, and you press. He went up and in fastball on Joely, swung at it. So I mean, not a pitch to hit on the first pitch up, and it was a bat out of the strike zone. So I mean, I can't get inside his head. Is he trying to do too much? This is all new territory for him. You know, it's his first time he's struggled. You have to adjust. Here's the pitch. Tied him up inside, and just no way that you're going to make contact unless you look in, which he wasn't there, and he was beat. So, you know, this is all, like I said, it's new territory for him. This game's not that easy. Well, and you have to make adjustments.
This is a guy as Canna hits one slowly to third, and Franco waits on it, uses that strong arm, and then throws it away into the dugout, and Canna will get second base.
Wow.
Well, Franco laid back on it, figuring he'd make his arm do the work, but it winds up being a two-base error.
Now we'll have Jankowski as a pinch runner. This is just the second bad throw on routine. Just got loose with the throw.
Well, Strange Gordon made a throwing error on a routine play leading off the 7th with Canna, and now Franco does the same. So the Mets with a chance to get some insurance. I'm going back to Soto, though. I mean, this is a guy who came up at age 19 with an unbelievable knowledge of the strike zone and great patience. And we talked about it the first series of the year about how he would adjust being with a team that's not expected to win and might not have a lot of bats around him. But what's been interesting about this early season is that the guys behind him in the order, particularly Bell and Hernandez, have been hitting, but yet Soto looks like he's putting a lot more pressure on himself anyway.
Oh, you know, like I said, the Mets went after him without fear. You know, this is part of the game. You got to go after the good hitters, and that's a situation where you bring in the left-hander. He's going in to get that left-handed out. I don't care if it's Ted Williams or Barry Bonds. You got to get that's his job, to get the left-handed out. And you know, this game will knock you down. You think you got it made, and I'm not saying that Juan Soto feels that way at all. I'm not. I'm sure he doesn't. He works very hard at his job. But it's not that easy, and now it's his first bit of adversity for him, and he'll pull through this.
I mean, it's only 30 games into the season.
Correct.
So it's not you know, it's not a fatal flaw by any means. It's just it's fascinating to watch a young player who has such singular skill at not putting himself in the bad position that he just put himself in, do that because
he's feeling the pressure.
I guess he has to be.
I mean, you know that you're 2 for 24 with men in scoring position, and this is a big spot he was in last inning. It was late and close, and that's where he's thrived in his career, young career.
I mean, he's still only 23. It's amazing what he's accomplished at this age and what the expectations are for him. 3-1 to Lindor.
And Francisco hits one toward the hole, past a diving Hernandez and into right field. They'll stop Canha at third. Lindor with the cutoff man missed will go all the way to second base. Great base running by Lindor as he saw Soto airmail the cutoff man and he took the extra base. And the Mets have second and third and nobody out.
Ball ripped in the hole. Soto nicely charged. And Lindor, I'm not so sure if he was trying to draw the cutoff. The play's right in front of him. Let's see. No, he read it nicely. Yep. Well done. Well done.
The interesting part about that, and you had mentioned it after Canha got to second base, was Buck not running for Canha with Jankowski, because if Jankowski's on second, he probably scores on that ball. Now Alonso will be intentionally walked, and that'll load him up for J.D. Davis.
They got to bring the infield in.
And then the question is, would you rather have Dom Smith in this spot against the right-hander? But Buck's going to stay with J.D.
JD's hit the ball hard.
He has.
So let JD swing the lumber.
He's hit 3 bullets and been walked. 1 for 3. The infield has to come in. Bases loaded, nobody out. Mets up 3-2 in the 9th, and now looking for some big time insurance.
Very shallow outfield, Gare. All 3 outfielders very shallow.
And JD attacks a first pitch fastball, 0-1. So an error, a single, and an intentional walk, loading up the bases and giving the Mets a chance to provide Edwin Diaz for some insurance before he takes over in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, Nationals have made their defense has hurt them in this game. 2 errors. They now have 25 errors on the year as a team.
If you're partial, as I am, to the metric called defensive run saved, which is compiled by Mark Simon and Sports Info Solutions, the Nationals came in at -9 defensive runs saved, which is 26th in the major leagues.
I believe it. They're strong up the middle defensively on the infield, but the corner positions, they're not very, they're pretty below average.
Remember, Escobar is sitting tonight, the regular shortstop. And it's too high, and it's 1-2 to Davis. D. Strange Gordon had one of the throwing errors in the 7th.
That didn't hurt them. They got away with that one.
Also a ball in the hole where he wasn't able to make an accurate throw.
The big key play was McNeil's double that Josh Bell just didn't move and tried to backhand and played it into a double. If he makes the play, it's a hit so hard, it's a double play, and there's your difference.
JD down in the count, 1-2. Marte on deck, and JD lifts one out to right. That'll get a run in at least. Back goes Soto near the warning track to make the catch. Tagging is Canha. Everybody else tagging as well. The throw goes to second. Pete gets there safely. It's a triply productive out for J.D. Davis. This one a sacrifice fly to make it 4-2 New York.
Nice at bat, J.D. Behind in the count. Going the opposite field, protecting the plate. Big run to drive in.
And everybody tagging and moving up. The Mets continue to run the bases brilliantly. Now Jankowski is going to run for Alonso at second base. And now the Mets with a chance for more. Only 1 out, and with everybody alertly moving up, runners at second and third, so the Nats again have to bring the infield in. Marte at the plate has had a rough day, but he's got a couple he can cash in right now.
It's a big redeemer at bat right here, Gare.
He's gone 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Lindor at third, Jankowski at second. Great speed out there. And Marte takes one on the inside corner, a strike. The error by Maikel Franco opening the door in this inning, and the Mets trying to crash all the way through. They've got one in already. And Marte hits a ground ball. The runners hold. Franco makes the throw to first on target to get Marte for the second out. So Lindor not running on contact on the ground ball to the third baseman. And now there are two out in the inning. Game 2 of this series tomorrow night. Tylor Megill, who pitched the opening day game here in Washington, will get the ball tomorrow night. He'll be opposed by the former Blue Jay, Aaron Sanchez. 6:30 the coverage tomorrow night on SNY.
So no matter what happens, if there's a base hit here, all the runs will be unearned. If Ramirez gets this out, it's only going to, the one run he's given up will be unearned.
Here's Escobar, second and third and 2 out. The infield backs up, and Escobar fouls off a first pitch fastball.
Boy, Escobar can use a base hit right here.
0 for his last 16 with his 0 for 3 tonight. He did walk in the 6th and score the go-ahead run in this game. That scored 3 in the 6th. They've tacked on 1 here in the 9th. Edwin Diaz getting ready for the save chance. And Lindor faking down the line from third, almost drew a balk from Ramirez. By the way, remember the other day when Chris Bassett committed a balk and we were incredulous?
Yes.
And then Bassett said after the game, I balked.
Really?
Yeah, I balked. I shuffled my feet, he said.
Ah, we missed it.
Ground ball into the shift. And that retires the side. Mets get an unearned run to give some insurance for Edwin Diaz. 4-2 in the 9th. For the best coverage in the game, let's check out the T-Mobile coverage cam. Beautiful look at the U.S. Capitol Dome glistening on a Tuesday night in D.C. On the latest Mets pod, Connor Rogers and Joe DeMayo take an inside look at Chris Bassett's season so far, plus break down some possible contract extensions the Mets should offer him. Subscribe and listen to the Mets pod, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Edwin Diaz in to try for his 7th save of the year.
And boy, he has been everything that the Mets traded for 3 years ago.
Josh Bell leads off in the last of the 9th. Bell has 2 of the 7 Washington hits. Travis Jankowski stayed in the game in left field. Dom Smith is playing first base as the Mets tighten up their defense for the bottom of the 9th. And Bell takes fastball inside at 98 miles an hour, 2-0. It's been a while since Edwin Diaz went to the mound, since the Mets' incredible comeback game Thursday in Philadelphia, when he worked a 1-2-3 ninth. There's a fastball strike, and it's 2-1. We've gotten used to seeing Sugar throw so many sliders. But now, starting off Bell with some inside heat. And there's another fastball, and that one's fouled off, and it's 2-2. Nelson Cruz on deck, and then Yadiel Hernandez for Diaz, who coming up this weekend will get a chance to face the team that traded him for the first time, and the young player he was traded for, perhaps, for the first time. With the Mariners coming to town for the weekend. 2-2 coming. Struck him out. Went to the slider on the 5th pitch to Bell, and that was the one to K him. 1 down in the 9th.
Well, his slider, Gary, that slider was over the middle of the plate. But watch it, his slider, watch it dip. It just sinks. At the last minute, it drops, I should say, not sink. And that's what he can get away with, that slider, when he leaves it over the middle, because it's got that late bite down, and it gets under the bat.
So 1 out. Here's Nelson Cruz, and he hits one toward the middle of the diamond. That's going to go through for a base hit. So Cruz with a 1-out single, and that will enable the Nats to get the tying run to the plate with the Yadiel Hernandez coming up. Mets have had so many chances to tack on more runs in this game. 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position, 12 runners left on base, and now the Nats still in this game as they bat in the bottom of the ninth.
And they're also with 2 outs, Gary, runners in scoring position, 0 for 6. They've had their opportunities.
So here's Hernandez, who's got a 7-game hitting streak on the line. He's gone 0 for 3 today. And Diaz blows a fastball by him at 99 miles an hour, 0-1. Why would you hold Nelson Cruz on first base with a left-hand hitter up? That run means nothing. It's a 4-2 game.
I would play behind and then be moved back, no question.
I mean, he's not going anywhere anyway with those 41-year-old legs. Just can't for the life of me understand why you'd hold him on. I mean, I know you're trying to keep the double play in order, but
you can keep the double play in order by hovering behind him, and then when the pitcher breaks from the belt, you back off.
Diaz ahead on Hernandez, 0-2 with Maikel Franco on deck, and it's fouled away. Slider.
I'm gonna have to ask Buck about that tomorrow.
I'm sure it's got to have something to do with the double play, right?
Yeah, but still, the left-hand hitter, even with a right-hand hitter, I just like being able to move back with the pitch and cover more ground.
Diaz ahead on Hernandez, 0-2, and he just got a piece of that slider to stay in the at-bat. Carlos Carrasco went 6 2/3, allowed 2 runs, 7 hits. He's in line for his 3rd win. Drew Smith worked another hitless inning. Joely Rodriguez threw 1 pitch and got a king-sized out against Soto in the 8th. And now Diaz trying to put on the finishing touches. 2 more outs to get. Oh-2 coming. And it's lifted foul. Another slider fouled away by Hernandez.
Yeah, pretty good pitch right there, back door. Good at bat, good swing right there from Hernandez just to stay in that at bat. I got to think now that Diaz is going to pop him inside.
Yadiel Hernandez hitting .351. He's been one of the hottest hitters in the league early in the season. And Diaz misses upstairs at 100 miles an hour, 1-2. Maikel Franco on deck. He drove in the first Washington run tonight. Cruz at first with 1 away, 1-2 to Hernandez. Up and away, and Diaz unable to put Hernandez away. 7 pitches deep and still going. Two coming, and again he fouls it away. This time the fastball, just able to stay in the at bat. 34-year-old Yadiel Hernandez.
Well, I know the old adage is that you got the tying run at the plate. You don't want to come inside and give up a long ball here, so they're staying away. But I think they're going to pop him in now.
9th pitch to Hernandez, a double play ball. McNeil with the flip, Lindor with a turn, double play, and the ball game is over. Edwin Diaz gets the save for Carlos Carrasco. The Mets play a brilliant defensive game and parlay that into a 4-2 win. They've beaten the Nats 4 out of 5. They go to 21-10 on the year as the Mets continue to play superb baseball in all areas, and they beat the Nats today 4-2.
Without a question, Garrett, they just play brilliantly, and again they come from behind, down in this game 2-0. They get the 3 runs. They're very good this year at scoring after an opponent scores. Nats went up in the 4th 2-0. They bounced back with, on the 5th, excuse me, they bounced back with 3 to take the lead. They never looked back. And make your manager happy.
So the Mets take the opener of the series in Washington. Carlos Carrasco gets his 3rd win. Diaz gets the save. The 11th time this year the Nats have lost a game where they had the lead. That's the most in the major leagues. Mets have beaten up on the Nats, winning 4 of 5. They take this one 4-2. We'll come back with more from our nation's capital in just a moment.